Good morning, everybody. Let's have a look. Getting all my numbers up, see what's working and what isn't. Oh, we've got 3 in already. Early risers. Anybody hear me? Is my voice okay? Everybody can hear. Living the dream. Okay. Oh, there we go. I can hear my little voice on my little iPad. So yeah, my voice is working. So now I'm a little bit early. 5 minutes early. So I'm waiting for people to log in and book on type of thing, and then we'll get the live stream going. It's a warm day today. Even though I thought it might be a bit cooler today because it's a bit overcast, but no, the temperature gauge over here where we are now is 35. So that's a warm day today. Nice. A message on. Hi, everybody. Loud and clear, Les. Jim Collis. Thanks very much. Glasses on, let's have a look. Brilliant. Thank you very much. I've got 12 on now. Oh, the numbers are creeping up now. And 17. Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining today, Sunday, bank holiday weekend. How's everybody's weekend going? According to the weather forecast, it should be a nice day in the UK. Oh, there we go. I will swap your day for a damp, rainy UK. Oh, I'm sure the Sky News said it was going to be a fairly warm day today for the whole of England. Hi, Les. Good afternoon. Morning, Les. Good morning from England, and good afternoon to you. Good morning, Les from England. Good afternoon, Les from Jumpium. England, Jumpium. Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, good morning, everybody. So there we go. Right, where are we at? Okay, just looking at my notes, see what we're going to discuss today. There's a few things today, but as I said, this is your opportunity for you to ask the questions what you want to ask, and I can go through the comments on the right hand side of my computer. But if anybody got a question, just put a capital Q at the beginning of it, and then I can see that it's a question, and you're not having a chat with somebody else that's already in the house. So by doing that, I'll go through your questions. I apologise if I miss anybody's question because I might be giving an answer, and the question or the chat scrolls up, so I might miss it. So I do apologise for that. But be sure that if you put a question, I will answer the question if it comes up. So near 40 degrees where I am. Well, that's hot. Good evening, Les from Scott, New Zealand. Yeah, you're going the other way. You're going in front of us, so you get the time there before us. So what a great expanses. We've got people from New Zealand at one end of the time scale, and then England people at the other time scale. So I got my coffee on my Australian Retire and Living the Dream mug today. So, and I'm stocked up with some bottles of water because I always get thirsty because of the amount of talking that I do. I think the last one was another record of 3 hours. I think the longest part that I've ever done was 3.5 hours. Oh. Okie dokie. So let's have a look. Hi, Les. Were you affected by the fires in the factory? No, nothing at all. Nowhere near that. I didn't even know it happened until Floyd mentioned it on the news the day after. We've seen quite a big grass fire. We were sat on the beach watching the sun go down. There was a massive pile of black smoke. And then when Ploy looked on Facebook chat group, TikTok group, wherever it was, there was a massive fire because There's been no rain now for a long, long time, and the grass and the woodlands tinder dry. So it doesn't take much for a fire to spark off here. But over here, compared to England, the amount of grass fires we used to go to, if there was a small pocket-sized fire, somebody would call the fire brigade and go out. But here, I've seen some quite big fires, and nobody attends it, or nobody gets called out to it. So no, not nothing interfered with us with any type of fires. There's been a couple of quite largish fires near the lakes where we live, but apparently that was controlled burning, according to my wife. They were just getting rid of the grass under a controlled situation because they'd seen the fires that have been happening around the area. Now, hopefully, everybody's thinking that it's going to be rain by the end of this month, and that will be the start of it. But it's a little bit later this year, the rainy season, in comparison to what it was last year. But I don't mind. I like the warm weather. It's hot and it's sticky, and it can be uncomfortable, but when all said and done, it's only for 3 months of the year. Miles from Denmark. Hi from Denmark. Just got back from Thailand. Oh, so you love the Thailand blues now that you've had to go back to your home country. So any future plans coming back? Or is it just going to be as and when you can? $2.82 for petrol here has gone up as well. Oh, the audio's echoing. Hang on, I'll turn the gain down a little bit. How's that? Turn the gain down a little bit, so hopefully the echo won't go away. Sorry about that. Petrol here has been quite expensive as well. It rose above 38 baht a litre. It's come down now to about 37. But I remember a couple of years ago, it was 18 baht. The government did a scheme or something and reduced it to 18 baht, 23 baht. Everybody looked at them. Good day, Les. Oh, and Paul Thailand. Good day. Yeah, I live in both countries. Okay, so maybe 6 months here, George, and 6 months in Denmark. That sounds pretty comfortable, doesn't it? Live the best months in Denmark and then live the winter months over here in Thailand. Seems like a plan. I was going to sort of do that if it was one of my plans anyway, because when I retired when I was 50 years old, and I traveled the world for 2 years, and I never intended to live full time ever again in the UK. So I traveled the world for 2 years, looking to choose where I was going to live, and that was one of my options, to live 6 months in the Thailand and 6 months in the UK. And now I've been here for 12 years in total, and I rarely go back. Yeah, just work here, and I think it's work. I was watching a documentary this morning about the cost of living crisis and how many people. When I first bought my house, I was 23 years old when I bought my house, and I struggled to get a mortgage, and it was 3 times more. It was 3 times my annual salary, but now 3 times your annual salary will get you nothing in any country around Europe. So therefore, majority of people, two incomes to provide for one house. So both people are working all day. It's just crazy. What's happened to the cost of living for everybody? And that's where I sing about Thailand's praises. The cost of living over here, especially for foreigners. Okay, for Thai people, it's sort of in the same situation as we were. It's always going to be expensive for a Thai person, but for a Westerner on his salary and pension can live quite comfortably over here, as I do. I live a better lifestyle over here on 55 to 60,000 baht a month. That's about £1,300 a month, and I can live a comfortable lifestyle over here. But £1,300 in the UK, almost impossible. Well, it is impossible. But I'm sure if I was on that amount of money in the UK, there'd be certain benefits that I could claim for. Who knows? Paul, afternoon, Les. Good afternoon, mate. How are you doing? Live in the UK April to September and jumped in October to March. Missing Thailand already. Yeah. Most people do miss it. As soon as they go away from this place, let's face it, it's sort of a happy. Well, I feel happy all the time living here anyway. So I get that happiness feeling living here all the time. I love it. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I apologize about the noise in the background. Over in the back there's a coconut plantation, and he's trimming the grass with his trimmer. So he's been there most of the day, and I thought he might have finished by now, but no, he's still trimming away. So you'll hear a little motor in the background. I couldn't go back to the UK. No, as I say, I went back for 9 weeks over a year or so ago, and I'm planning on visiting next year for 2 or 3 weeks. But if I'm going to go, I'm going to go during the summer months as opposed to the winter months, because the winter months is awful. 9 weeks from November till January, awful. I never, ever felt warm. I had 2 shirts on, sweatshirt, fleece on, jumpers, a duvet all the time, sat at my sister's house on the sofa. Went back for the first time in years last October, and it's not the same. No, it's always changing, isn't it? And now I'm a news person. I watch the news every day and what's going on. I like worldly events, what's happening, and I'm watching the mayor elections on the news now. The Conservatives, they're like a dead man walking, if you like, because there's no way on this earth they're going to get back into power again. Absolutely no way on this earth. And the Labour government, there's nothing outstanding what they're saying, what they're going to bring to the table to make everybody's lives even happier, or to try and change the course of direction that the UK is going. The aggression that's building up in the UK, the wokeism, that's the biggest thing. The wokeism in the UK is tremendous. Fear of saying anything to anybody because you're going to offend them if you say something. Where's it going to? Where's it going to lead to, all of this lot? Call a spade when all's said and done. And, everybody doesn't agree with everybody. So there's always going to be somebody outspoken. But it appears that if you're outspoken in the wrong camp in the UK, then you can be arrested for it. Crazy. Yeah, woke is all over now. I mean, wokeism it's sort of been on the cards for many years. It was even like that in the fire brigade, maybe 10 years or so before I left the fire brigade. And I've been left the fire brigade now for 14. So 25 years ago, wokeism was about, but it was in its early stages because I got hauled to the office because of my anti-wokeism. In my mind, what I was arguing over was, getting the right person to do the right job. But we were underrepresented by certain minority groups, and we had to make positive plans to get these minority groups within the fire brigade. And I think that was the thin end of the wedge, and it's sort of gone downhill from there. Not just the fire brigade, but everywhere. The police, the ambulance, the hospitals, everywhere, it's the same. Yeah, as As a guest house, we are seeing so many self-entitled woke from Europe. Yeah. Mike Baker, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, we've got 53 in the house and 8 thumbs up. So thumbs up counts the algorithm, and YouTube like it for some reason. So anyway, yeah, getting back onto it, going about the thumbs up and things like that. Yeah, 10,000 subscribers now. Thanks very much for everybody that subscribed to my channel. We've actually got there now for 10,000 subscribers. And I'm going to do a giveaway. I've just done a video, and if you haven't seen it yet, have a look at it and make a comment and give it a thumbs up, and you can be entered into a prize draw where I'm going to give 2 nights free accommodation and 2 evening meals for 2 people at a resort near us. And also thrown into it is a free scooter hire for 2 days, so you can go look around the area. And then me and Ploy, we can spend the day with you. If you want to spend the day with us, you might not want to spend the day with us. You might just want to take the freebie holidays and not even speak to me and Ploy, which is okay if that's what you want. But yeah, that's an offer. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment and put a thumbs up, and then you can be entered into this draw, which is going to be the first week in June. So I'll do a video on the draw first week in June to see who's won, and the prize lasts as long as it takes for you to claim it, or you can pass it on to somebody else. So it's my little way of saying thanks very much for the 10,000 subscribers to get me here in the first place. I do it because I do this because I enjoy doing it, and I can pass on some information, and I know for a fact, and I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, I've helped numerous people relocate to living here in Thailand and make it a lot easier, because talking to somebody who knows the ropes, if you like, can make it a lot easier and can save thousands and thousands of baht, by being pointed in the right direction. So anyway, that's my little thank you to my 10,000 subscribers, is enter the competition for a chance to win. You have to be in it to win it, so they say. Hi Les, have you had any bad weather? Not yet. My wife said up in Udon way there was bad thunderstorms yesterday, but here it's overcast and cloudy, but it's just hot. I mean, you can see me sweating now, and it's 35 here at the minute. So no, we haven't had any of that bad weather yet. We're going to Trat tomorrow for 3 or 4 days. That's up near Koh Chang. I'm going to see a friend up there, and so according to all of the people, the rain will be here by the end of the month. So that's when it's going to calm down the weather-wise, and we'll get a bit of rain, then that should cool everything down. Hopefully so. Anyway. I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon, Tony Montana. Yeah, we're getting there now, aren't we? Another week has gone by since we last spoke, so you're almost there, almost boots on the ground. Sounds great. I'm going to come and visit you someday for sure for a coffee. Yep, the sofa there is always available for anybody who wants to pop around and have a cup of coffee, no problem. As I say, we sit outside. It's a lovely place to sit here and have a cup of coffee, and why not? Because you're retired and living the dream. Hi, Les from Chiang Mai, from Paul. Hot and still smoking here. Yeah, I mean, the burning season is always bad, isn't it? And, hot and polluted weather, it just drives all the pollution down to ground level. But Chiang Mai is a beautiful place. For sure, it is a beautiful place. But so many people complain about it during the smoky season. So thanks for joining us. Since Blair Labour has not been for the working class, and it's a case of who's the least work. Yeah. What's the solution to it? What's the solution? All of these people that know how we're supposed to want to live and things like that, we pay their salary, but are they doing the things that we want them to do? No, because they think best, and they don't actually listen to the working class people anymore. The working class people, my my view of it is they're an underclass, and it's we fork out everything when sort of the brown stuff hits the fan, and we'll pay for it. I mean, today, here is a bombshell. You might have seen it already on the news, but I've seen it already on the news. And the bad blood scandal where they were giving patients HIV infected blood when they knew it was infected. They were still giving them it. Now, the government have signed off an agreement to compensate millions of people who were infected by this infected blood at a cost of £10 billion. £10 billion. So, according to the little bit of what people were saying, the pundits this morning, the Tories are kicking the can down the road. So, do you remember the episode when it was either Conservatives or Labour said the money's all gone, there's no money left, when they left a note when the government changed over? Well, this is going to be the bombshell that the Tories are going to give the Labour. There's a £10 billion compensation scheme to make. Find the £10 billion that we've committed to. Who's going to pay that? Who's going to fund all of that lot? I agree, the people who've been, affected by it should have some compensation. Just look at the compensation the government's been paying out. The post office scandal. Wow, I've been watching 1 or 2 episodes of that. The post office scandals, horrendous. Just liars, lawyers and respected people, absolute liars. So the scandal, post office scandal, the blood, the list goes on. The list goes on. I'm getting annoyed. I'm on a rant now over this. I'll come back down to earth now. But it just winds me up because it shouldn't be happening to people like me or people like you. All we want is a decent salary, a decent cost of living, a decent place to live, safe place to live. Is that too much to ask for? I believe it is in the UK, is why I left. Because I've found that place, that little piece of heaven where it ticks all of them boxes, a nice place to live, good standard of living, nice people, feeling safe. But I had to move halfway across the world to do that. Now, if England was the same as it was when I grew up as a child, I would have probably stayed in England, because England is a nice place. A friend of mine's just gone back to Derbyshire, and he showed me some of the photographs. Derbyshire I've never been to, or part of it, and it's like stunningly beautiful and wonderful. England has some wonderful places, but there's a lot of bad places as well, and them bad places need to be improved. The blood scandal, they can't sort out the post office scandal. That's been going. Yeah, now that they've sorted the blood scandal out today, it was on the Sky News today that the government have agreed to pay £10 billion compensation, and they've signed it off with the Paymaster General or whatever from the government, and whoever else has to be the joint signature to say that the government's going. The government's going to pay for it, but they haven't mentioned how the government's going to pay for it. That's kicking the can down the road and giving it to the thanks very much, Labour. There you go, deal with this one. So, can you see our taxes coming down in the near future? Not at all. They will sell the gold reserves. Do they have optimism? Opossum. Do they have opossum in Thailand? What's opossum? Opsum? I don't know. I've never heard of that word before. Hi Les, Jang and Nolan, 1 a day high. Okay, hello. Welcome to the channel. We are laying concrete tomorrow. Ooh, so rain for sure. Or wouldn't well, I assume you will be supervising it and not actually laying it. Somebody else will be laying it for you, and you'll be watching them. Yeah, most of that 10 billion will go to lawyers. The lawyers are raking it in over the UK, that's for sure. I hate lawyers. I do. I hate lawyers. They are crooks with certificates, legalized crooks. Hi, Les. I'm moving to Voluntary for good on the 18th of May. Congratulations. Well done. Woo-hoo-hoo. Good for you. Yeah, I was going to be there in June, but I can't wait that long. Oh, well, good luck with Voluntary. I've been to Voluntary just twice, but what I've seen of it, it's okay. It's a rural area, that's for sure. But my friend lives up near there, and he said he loves it. So good luck with the move. Best wishes for your future plans. Dean Isan, good afternoon, Les. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Isan. Funny how the storms are localized, not that heavy where I am, but police friend was showing me a video of his house flooded. Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, when it does rain here, it does rain. It absolutely comes down like stair rods, and it's nice actually to see it rain. But I mean, our house is called Lakeview. Oh, sorry, not Lake Home, because we're surrounded by lakes here. There's about 6 lakes all around where we live, and we've lived here now for 8 years and never ever been flooded. But certain parts of the village have been flooded. But I mean, look at all the the wild weather that's been going on in Brazil. How many people have died in Brazil because of flash floods? In Dubai, the 1.5 years worth of rain fell in 24 hours. Now that's some extreme weather, isn't it? I'm onto the cold water already. Coffee's gone, cold water now. How would they get all of this water? It's to the brim. It really is to the brim. Yeah, so this global warming is certainly working, and everybody's going to suffer. And but let's face it, we are we can do something about it. But for me, what is wrong is when the government tax you for making their decisions. Basically, you get taxed on everything, don't you? You know, for the plastics that you use, for the energy that you use. I don't know what the answer is. You know, the solution is to everything is just tax everybody to death. Right. Oh, Les, before I Uluwatu, my wife and I are having a final blowout in Butlins next week. Butlins, which Butlins are you going to go to? I like Butlins. I took the kids to Butlins. Some happy memories of Butlins. We took our own caravan. We took our own caravan to the Butlins site. Wow, it just brings back a memory. And we had our caravan, and we had it was only maybe a year or so old, our caravan, when we went to Butlins. And this old, scrappy caravan turned up, and it was obvious that there were travellers, because it was a transit van pulling a 2 or 3 berth caravan, and about 8 or 10 kids got out of this caravan and just created mayhem. The stuff that got nicked out of other people's awnings on the side. In fact, the travellers were told to go the following day because they were causing so much. I've got nothing against travellers. I really don't, because I could live in a van or a caravan. I'd be quite happy at doing that. But then I'd be classed as a traveller or a gypsy or whatever. It's like everything else. There's good and bad amongst everything. But on this particular campsite, we had the worst of the worst. Effing and blinding and stealing people's stuff, and 8 to 10 kids getting out of a 2-berth caravan. Oh, there was a lot of expletives going on in the morning as well when the Butlins authorities, the manageress, manager came over and told them that they had to leave. I think they left with more than what they came with anyway. But yeah, Butlins, I like Butlins. Minehead, oh yeah. Well, enjoy your Butlins. I'm sure you will. There's no Butlins or anything like that over here. We've been to 2 concerts over the past 2 or 3 days. That's been good in Banpay. This is just trying to get over this and trying to explain this on the video without actually you seeing it or being there. It's a strange thing. I mean, Banpay isn't on the tourist map at all. People come to Banpay to get the ferry to go to Koh Samet. So it's like a nice little town, but there's nothing worth visiting here really in Banpay. There's an aquarium, that's about it. And but for the past 4 days there's been concerts on, and some quite big bands have been playing, all for free. And they have all the tables and chairs sat out. There's no entrance fee to pay. They have beer on sale. They have a plethora of food stalls, and the smells are just fantastic. And it's free entertainment. And it's just like, wow, you know, we were there for a couple of hours the first night, missed a night, then we went there last night, and there's another concert on there tonight. So they've had about 6 or 8 bands playing, fairly well-known bands as well, for free. What's the last band that you've seen in the UK for free, where they put on an event where it's totally free to go to? That's what I'm saying. The beauty of this country, you know, there's lots of free stuff that goes on, and people happy and enjoying themselves. Was there some trouble? Of course there's some trouble. Alcohol and young people and loud music. You know, you're always going to get a little bit of bother, but you know, every concert festival that you go to in the UK, there's always going to be somebody's had a little bit too much to drink. Well, the same goes on over here as well. But they had the police and the army MPs drafted in to keep any bother at bay. And I personally didn't witness in the twice that I've been any bother. But Ploy says on a TikTok account, there was a couple of incidents that she'd seen and somebody videoed it. Young lads fighting invariably over girls, I would have thought, but just such a nice event, and everybody's happy. Tables and chairs all for free entry to the site. The food was just like incredibly cheap. This cooked right in front of you, very, very fresh. Oh, very nice. So if you get the chance to go to any music festivals in Thailand, go to it, because it's just full of happy people. Okay, question from Andy Shot. All right, for the guy, like you, I'm a few short years from claiming state pension. When we do, will it freeze from the date of application or from the date that you move to Thailand? Okay, I can answer this one for sure, 100% sure. If you apply for it and you're still living in the UK or a reciprocal country, it will still go up with inflation. It's only actually when you move to Thailand that's when it's frozen at that rate. So basically, let's take this April. You've got the rise this April. To qualify for next April's rise, you have to stop in a reciprocal country for 185 days. In other words, you have to stay in England for 185 days. And if you've stayed in England 185 days within that 1 year period, April 6th to April the 5th, then you qualify for the rise. So technically it is frozen when you leave the country. So don't worry about that. You're going to get this year's rise. And if you don't go until, say, the middle of, after 6-7 months or so, then you're okay to get your rise next year, which I think, with the look of it, it's going to be normal, about 2.5% to 3% next year. We've had the 2 big rises, the 8.7%, I think it is, and 10.1%. That won't go to that amount of money again for, well, let's hope it never ever gets to that high, because then inflation is super high again, and the brown stuff's going to hit the fan. But again, with the government, there's many people say, "Oh, just say you live at your sisters, your brothers, your aunties, your uncles, or whatever," and the government will never know. But what happens there is because if they really wanted to find out, and let's face it, the government at the minute, they're going to be looking to claim back every penny they can get. And it's a simple fact. If they employ one person just to look at people's location where they're living and putting, 1 and 2 together with regard to you're living in Thailand, but you're claiming your state pension and you've been claiming your state pension for blah, 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 contact the passport department, and all of these departments are going to be linked very, very soon because of they actually know where everybody is around the world because of what they have to find out about people is that they'll put the dots together, and then they can claim all of that overpayment back, and then you can be charged with fraud. And if you're charged with fraud, it's a criminal record. So if you're planning to go anywhere, you've got a criminal record. So I've got no worries about telling the government, I'm as honest as the day is long. I'll tell them this is when I'm not claiming my pension yet for another 2.5 years. But then I'll be telling them that I'm claiming it from, Thailand. So, yeah, so do the honest thing. And I know several guys who were still getting the winter fuel payments here and they've lived here for 14 years and they've been claiming the pension for the past 10 years or so. So, good while you can get away with it. It's like everything else. Nobody wants to give the government anything. But at the end of the day, the government have got long arms, deep pockets for lawyers. They'll sue you and take anything and everything they can get back off you. Even if they lose money, they will sue you and get the money back off you. So I hope that answered your question with regard to your pension. Main road and shopping areas being flooded past few years. Luckily not reached home yet. Yeah, it's like our village. The bridge nearly got swept away last year. It's never been known. Everybody said it's never ever been that bad. But I'd heard also that last year's storms were the worst in 10 years. But the amount of rain over the rainy season wasn't as much as normal. But when it did came down, it came down very, very very heavily. Immigration is Butlins here. Yeah, once you get your 90-day stamp, a lot of people are scared of the immigration services and that, they're there to help you as well. Even though they do give us hassle when we go for our marriage visa, it's still not too difficult. We just smile, and I say to my wife now, because we got the immigration and she's not very nice to my wife or me, and it's just like we've been going there for 5 years now, and she's not the nicest immigration officer that we've spoken to. But if she asks for anything, we just smile and say, okay, and then we'll go and get it sorted out in the afternoon, give them the information, then it's done for another year. So just smile and just say, yeah, okay, because they never ask for too much information. The information that they ask for has to be available. Hi, Les. In the UK, they will be looking at your bank. Yeah, I seen that the other day, that they've got power to look at your bank accounts. Well, that's been in power for a long time. There's somebody I know personally in the UK was cheating the benefit system, let's say. They were taking and asking for everything, living as a couple and saying that they weren't living as a couple. And I told them, I said, listen, you can't do this. If you do, you're going to get, don't worry. They're stupid. They don't know everything. And I've got to say, when they found out that they were claiming benefits, extra benefits, especially for living as a couple as opposed to single. And this lady that I know, she told me they looked at all of the bank accounts. eBay, her partner used to buy and sell stuff on eBay. They had all the eBay accounts for this investigation went on for 2 years. They had all the details of anything that he bought and sold on eBay. They had all of his mail and her mail looked at and resealed and sent on to them. So they looked at all of the mail for 2-year period. And when this girl that I knew went, she got a letter saying that she had to go to see the fraud department, and then she had to go and get a solicitor. And the solicitor said to her, if you don't plead guilty for this, because you are, he said, you're going to go to jail. So she had to plead guilty for it, and she had to pay, I think, 11 or 12,000 pounds back over a number of years. So the government, if they want to look into it, they can look into absolutely everything. eBay, for 2 years, buying and selling. They had photographs because he used to go buy and sell stuff at the auction rooms as well, because he was classed as unemployed because he wasn't working. He was claiming benefits as well. So they had photographs of his car, what he bought, what he sold, copy of the receipts, everything for 2 years. So if they want to do it, they'll do it, and I'm sure they will do it. My wife has arranged for me to see a visa agent in Voluntary when we arrive to get a marriage visa. I don't want to use the agent, but I need a bank account, and they can help me with a bank account. Yeah, well, you don't have to use an agent to get your marriage visa, but I would say use an agent to get your bank account, because your bank accounts are very difficult to open over here. So I would say use the agent to get the bank account. That's about 4,000 baht. Then you can apply to get your marriage visa or visa on you can either put 400,000 baht in the bank for 2 months prior to your application, so you need 2 months on your visa, or put in 40,000 baht per month for 2 months, and that'll class as your income method. So doing any of them, you'll be able to do it. Just go down to the immigration department and say, listen, I'm moving over here. I want a marriage visa based on marriage. What do I need to do? And they'll give you all the advice that you need. I'm telling you what you can do, but the immigration officer, they're the horse's mouth. Now, the immigration service is also all supposed to sing from the same hymn sheet, but sadly they don't. Some immigration officers want this, some immigration officers want that. They're not all the same. So basically, go and ask the immigration service what they want. But for sure, use an agent to get your bank account. That's the first step that you want. That's the hardest one, actually. So good luck with that one anyway. You'd save yourself an awful lot of money not using an agent for a marriage visa. Wise is a great app for moving. I use Wise every month. Fantastic. For between 55 and 60,000. Some months 55, some months is 60,000. That costs me about £8 to move that amount of money from the UK. It's the cheapest way of doing it. I've never found anything any cheaper than that. I had a terrible experience with Wise, void them like I've used Wise for 10 years now, and I've never, ever, not one time had a problem. Sometimes the money's there in seconds, other times it's there in 1 or 2 days. If it's a bank holiday like it was the 1st of this month, then it doesn't come on that number 1, it came on number 2. So sometimes if the first comes on a Saturday, it'll be the Monday or the Tuesday that it gets in. But I've never had a problem with Wise. But I hear what you say. I mean, sometimes I've had other people say as well that they've had problems with Wise. I think it's like anything, any massive organization as Wise is. I mean, you think of the thousands and thousands of transactions they must do every single day. You are going to get the odd 1 or 2, and that is very unlucky. And I'm sorry that you've had your problem with Wise, but I'm sure them faults can be ironed out and fixed. But it's certainly the cheapest way to move money that I've found anyway. Do my transfers through my bank, just get charged £9 for a rate. And rate not brilliant. It's about 3 to 4 days to arrive though. Wise the Wise gives you a better rate than the bank. So £9, that's about the same as what Wise would charge you, but you times that by the rate, you'll find out that Wise give you a much. So look into it, that's for sure. I made a formal complaint against Wise with the Ombudsman, and the later awarded me €200 for compensation. Wise had to be pushed, poked and prodded constantly. I lost it now. We had to, for them to pay it after 3 weeks wait. Well, sorry to hear about that again, but well done for getting some compensation anyway. Getting 3 months no in England, then you can get your bank account. I've still seen people with problems because getting a bank account is like a chicken and egg situation. You can't get a bank account unless you got a visa, and you can't get a visa unless you got a bank account. So that's what I say to people using it. It's 4,000 baht. You might have to go through half a dozen different banks, which one person that I said to him, use an agent. He went to 10 banks and he still didn't get it. And I said, I told you. But he was adamant that he was going to not use an agent for anything. But at the end of the day, he used the agent, 4,000, and his bank was opened the same day. Sometimes the little brown envelopes help, grease the wheels of motion. Wise messed up on the account verification. They were rejecting perfectly valid documents and sending them, giving totally crazy. Yeah. Well, obviously, as I don't work for Wise, I can't comment on that. But like I said, I've used Wise for 10 years, personally speaking, and I've never, ever, ever had a problem with it. It appears every immigration office handles things slightly differently. The Secret office will do copies and print things off for you if you forget. Yeah, I mean, saying that our immigration office does as well. They have printers. They can take your photographs if you. They are more than helpful. It's just the one lady that we deal with isn't. Nobody likes the type of thing. She's a very stroppy, and she can make your life. I mean, on our first year, she had my wife in tears. She kept calling my wife a fool. Now, what type of immigration officer speaks to the customers? She's there to help. She can't even speak English. She can't even speak a word of English, but she works in the immigration office. But she called my wife a fool 4 times, and she had my wife in tears. And now, my wife can have a little bit of a joke with her. She's not as bad as she was 5 years ago. We've been married 6 years now, so we're coming up for our next marriage visa in July. So June, that's when we start collecting all the information, and we'll go the second week in July because it's due at the end of July. So yeah, the paperwork for a marriage visa is horrendous. There is a lot of work to do with it. Made it, Les. I'm now in Chaipum. I've been here now a month so far. Thank you so much for your inspiration and help. Seems funny now watching you at 3 p.m. rather than 9 a.m. Well done for getting there, and thanks very much for being inspired by what I have to say. Thanks very much. It's nice to hear the good stories as well. It's brilliant. The advice that I give to people, I'm just one of many that can give advice, I think. But for me, knowledge is power, and if you can get as much information as you can, and then assess the information, because some people's good information, some people's bad information. Weigh it all up and take the lead of who you think is the most knowledgeable and good at the information that they provide. Barclays charged £12 per transaction. Oh, well, that's not too bad. Yeah, but what's the rate? Is the rate as good as Wise? Wise takes 5 minutes. Yeah, it does, but usually on the 1st of the month or the 31st of the month, because there's lots of transactions going on then, that's when it takes a day, but I'm okay with that. Wise is expensive, over 10,000 UK pounds, you lose money. Oh, well, I don't know that. I'm not in position to send more than £10,000 anyway, but I can take your word for that. Hi, George and Chaipo, myself, but definitely picked the wrong month to come. I think you've got to get used to this. You've got to get used to this weather. That is for sure, because 3 months of the year, I mean, we have our doors wide open there. I've just did a video about trying to get a draft through the house, and we've fitted a new back door, well, an extension to the new back door, which has got like a fly screen on it. So now we can have the back door open, because before the creepy crawlies used to go, because our house is a bungalow and it's like flat surfaces everywhere. So we do get snakes slither by, and scorpions and creepy crawlies, and a couple of them snuck in underneath the door. So we put the brush seal at the bottom of the door, but we never leave that back door open because you can't see it, and anything slithers in. That's the last thing you want, is snakes. We've had 2 snakes in the house and we don't want any more. So we fitted that door. So now we have a draft through the house. We have the windows open, and the draft is just beautiful. It just gets rid of all of that hot air. And do we put the air conditioning in? Oh, excuse me, on the night time? We might have it on for an hour or so. But since we fitted the back door, I've got to say that the room temperature has cooled down dramatically compared to how it was. You know, if we go out for the day and all the windows and the doors are shut, it builds up that heat. And trying to get rid of that heat is, you know, it takes a lot to do it. But once you got them doors open and the windows open, we've got fly screens on all the windows, it just gets rid of all of that hot air, which is fantastic. So you've got to acclimatize. I've been here for 12 years, so I still find it hot and sticky and not very comfortable, but I'd still have, for me, my choice is I'd sooner have this warm heat than the coldness of the UK or anywhere else. So it's 3 months. Winter goes on for about 6 months in the UK. So I can sit in front of a fan all day and it's next to nothing to keep cool. I'm sat outside now. I've got no fans working today. There's a bit of a breeze in the background. Is it warm? It's hot and sticky, but it's not unbearable. It's not like, oh, I need to sit underneath the air conditioning. The people who get used to sitting inside the house with the air conditioning and all day, they'll never hack it in Thailand. They'll end up going back home. All right. Do we keep an English bank account or UK mobile number for a bank one-time passcode? Yes, I do still have a UK bank account, which my 5-year pension goes to. And I don't use the two identity codes. I've got online banking and I do everything like that. So up to now, and I've never had a problem with Barclays Bank. That's my bank that I use in the UK. And I've never had a problem with it. But I don't have a UK number anymore. Although they do have on their information a UK telephone number. But I've never had that for the 10 years I've been out of the UK. Well, I've been out of the UK for 12 years, 14 years, but 10 years. 10 years I've had the same number, but I've never, ever used it. Oh, the comments are going up. Hi, Les, mate. I'm 62 and want to get my retirement visa this year or next. I believe I have to get a 90-day visa first in the UK and then apply for the retirement visa in Thailand. Is this how you understand it? Now, there's a couple of ways. You can apply for a 90-day visa from the UK, that's for sure. And if you can do it that way, that's fantastic, because then you've got loads of time to get things sorted out. But although it's classed as a 90-day visa, it's actually a 60-day visa. Then after 60 days, you apply for another 30 days. But that gives you the time, because you've got to have, to get the bank account, you've got to have 28 days on your visa. To get your left, you've got to have 28 days left on your visa to be able to claim for a visa. And it's the same with a bank account. You've got to have 28 days on your visa. So what I would say, with that amount of time that you can put your ducks in a row, if you like. You've got the time to do it. That gives you your 2 months seasoning time for if you're going to go the 800,000 baht route. The minute you get to Thailand, open a bank account within the first week or so. Get that bank account opened, get your 800,000 baht in the bank account, or if you're going to do the income method, put 65,000 baht from overseas, from your home country. It has to show that it's come from overseas, not that you put the money in the bank. And that gets the ball rolling. Go and see the immigration office and say, listen, this is what I've got. I've got a 90-day visa. I want a retirement visa. They're friendly. They're there to help you. That's what they're there for. That's what the government pay them, to help the people solve the problems. Nobody should be scared of the immigration officer, because the immigration officer is there to help. And they will, and they're very, very good. So that's the way to do it. The 90 days is fantastic. You can do it that way. But if you didn't get the 90-day and you just come on a tourist visa, that still gives you 60 days. So technically, you can still get everything done within them 60 days. But you have to be very, very quick off the mark. Basically, as you land in Bangkok, the following day you're at the bank to open up your bank account. So you got your 28 days. Then you can deposit some money. Then that's month 1. Then the next calendar month, that's month 2. So technically, you can still do everything on a tourist visa, because you get 60 days. But it's a lot more running around. But if you've got the time to do it, go for the 90 days, and then it's easy street. That's if you want to do it yourself also. But if you want an agent to do it, you still need 30 or 28 days on your visa, even if an agent did it. So if you ran out of time, basically, if you came here on a tourist visa and you did 30 days, then you extended it for 30 days, and then half of that second 30 days, you wanted to get your retirement visa, then you can't do it. You'd have to leave the country, come back again, and start the 30-day process again. So basically, it's if you know what you want, if you want a retirement visa, get your ducks in a row and do the preparation, and go through it that way. But yeah, you can still do everything even if you come in the country. That was a long answer to your question, and I hope you got the gist of it. But yes, that's no problem. Glad the screen door is working. I had reservations here in summer. I close all the windows and shutters to keep the heat out. Yeah, now again, I've had many people say to me, keep all the doors and the windows shut, because otherwise, if you open wherever the ambient temperature is outside, the ambient temperature comes inside as well. But even though we've got insulation on the roof, the heat is severe here. The heat travels down through the house. So that even if you kept all the doors and the windows shut here, you are going to get heat build up in the house. Because I know, and I've tried everything to try and stop that. I've got the foil on the roof right underneath the tiles. And in our bedroom, I've got a layer of insulation to stop that heat layer coming into the bedroom. But in reality, what that is a double-edged sword, because the walls heat up when the sun is at the right angle in the bedroom, and radiates that heat into the bedroom. Now heat rises, but now I've got a layer of insulation, so the heat that's built up in the bedroom cannot go through the insulation that I put above the bedroom. So for me, this is how it works for me. I mean, everybody else might have their own solution to it. Open all the doors and the windows. Any hot air that's built up, there's a draft goes through the house, and it takes all of that hot air out of the house. I've got to say, we've had the door in now, maybe just short of a week, and I can feel the difference, the temperature-wise in the house. It's lovely. And in fact, on our front door here, now our front door is weird because we've got a main front door, then these blue doors are outer doors. So we've actually got 2 front doors, and it makes the house so secure, it does. But we can't, I'm going to put magnetized net, and because we like the door open as well. But you might just see a little piece of blackboard there. Now we have lizards that come along on this floor. They live underneath the settee, and occasionally they'll walk along, and if that isn't on, they'll have a look inside the house as well, and the friendly lizards, the lovely lizards, they're about that long, but the wife's scared of them, so she doesn't like them coming in. So we can't leave that door open without that board on there. But I'm going to put the magnetic door catch there. A subscriber actually sent me the package, and I'm going to fit that. So then now we can have the front door open as well, but we're still going to have a little bit of a board at the bottom. Otherwise, the creepy crawlies can still get in at the bottom. But for me, we have all the windows open and it drives that warm air out. Again, that's another long-winded answer to that question. So yeah, this, for me, this is the hottest part of the year. But our electricity bill is still only less than 700 baht a month. We don't have the air conditioning on in the bedroom. We have the window open on the night because we've got the fly screens and the window, and we have 2 fans. And for me, it's warm. Yes, it's warm. But the wife doesn't like the air conditioning. But I've got used to it now. I can sleep when it's warm. I prefer it to be cold. Like when we go on holiday, I'll put the air conditioning on in the rooms, but I like it to be cold. But I've got used to being able to sleep in this warm with a fan. We have on the night time, when we lock everything up about 7 o'clock on the night until 11 when we go to bed, we might have the air conditioning on for an hour just to cool the room down, but we still have the fan in the room as well. So the air conditioning on for an hour and the fan. So we use our aircon for an hour, maximum 2 hours, but not every day in the hottest part of the year. So yeah, I think that the screen door works for sure. It helps to get rid of get the heat out of the house. Would you do your own retirement visa in the UK before traveling? It's best to use an agency when you're in Thailand. It's easy enough to apply for in your home country. So that gives you 90 days of like no problems really. But anything and everybody, you can do it over here in Thailand. Yeah, you can use an agent. An agent will sort everything out for you. But I mean, I send people to agents, and there's a couple of agents I send people to, but I still always encourage people to do it themselves. And you can do it yourself. And it's not difficult to do it yourself, and you'll save a fortune. A lot of people don't like paperwork, and the agents will tell you that there's lots of paperwork and there's this and that and the other. And in reality, if you're retired, you've got all the time in the world. You can go and sit in the immigration office all day, which is a great conversational piece because you'll talk to thousands of other people trying to do the same thing also. And so do it yourself. If you want me to go through a step-by-step on how to do it, how to retire over here in Thailand, I do a consultation session for $10. For $10, you can talk to me as long as you want, and I'll give you all the information that you want. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll tell you what you need to do, what you don't need to do. And if you don't get the information that you want, or you don't feel like the information isn't what you want, you don't pay the $10. So it's sort of a win-win situation. I've lived here for 12 years, so I know the system. I know you can bend the system, but still be within the law. I don't recommend anybody to break the law, but the law can be bent, but it saves you money as well. And it's still legal to do what I suggest people to do. I would never tell anybody to do anything illegal. So if you want to do that, just send me an email and you can chat to me as long as you want about any subject whatsoever. I'll put my email on the bottom. SOM 58. Where's that? Right, Leslie Pearson 58 at yahoo.com. If anybody wants any information, anything whatsoever, don't be shy. If there's things you want to ask about Pattaya, I used to take people around Pattaya on a walking holiday to various parts of location. So I've been here for 12 years. I'm sort of been there, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt. but you still learn stuff every day. And I'm sure there's a couple of subscribers on there that, you know, if they're actually watching, that I've actually taken on patio, they'll give a big thumbs up, because I've saved them a fortune with various things and pointed them in the right direction. Saved them thousands and thousands of baht by suggestion ways of doing things that are all legal, 100% legal. So that is a service that I offer, $10. And again, we do a face-to-face chat. If it takes an hour to give the information, it's an hour. If it takes 3 hours, it's still only $10. So it's no problem. And I enjoy doing the chat as well, because then you become friends and then passing information on. I don't give any BS. I don't give any bad information. And the information that I give is honest, and I'm blunt, and I'm truthful in everything that I say. But that's blowing my own trumpet. Martin Bonner, John Mitch, you can get a retirement visa by having 800k in the bank. Yeah, but you need to open the bank account to start off with in the first place. You can have the 800k, but if you don't have the bank account to put it in, then that's difficult. And even sometimes, if you have 800,000 or $1 million baht to put in a bank account, you still can't open a bank account. But if you've got $1 million baht in cash and you can say, I want to open a bank account, it might open a few more doors, but invariably it doesn't. Let's get your visa here, or health insurance, O versus OA. Okay. Now the OA visa, you need to have a health insurance of $100,000 and $40,000 outpatients. So the OA visa is rapidly gaining, rapidly losing its appeal, because nobody wants it, because then you have to have $100,000 worth of medical insurance for the duration of your stay here. So if you wanted an OA visa for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you have to have insurance for that amount of time. But if you just come here and you do your 3-month O visa, just on an O visa from your home country, 90-day visa, you don't need to have medical insurance. If you come here on a tourist visa where you get your 30 days exemption, then you extend it for 30 days, you don't need medical insurance. But I would always say it's wise to have travel insurance or some sort of medical insurance, because let's say you never know what's going to happen, do you? So it gives you more choices coming here on the 30-day visa exempt and then the 30 days extension, because you can get your medical insurance from the provider that you want. Whereas if you go for the OA visa, it has to be directed towards the Thai companies, which, let's say, costs a lot more than being able to get the same amount of cover elsewhere. So the OA visa is actually losing its popularity, and eventually it'll just die a death. That's my opinion anyway. Trouble is this time of the day, the airflow is hot. Luckily, not getting too much things coming in without screening. Yeah, it is hot air, but a lot of our house is shaded. So in direct sunlight, the wind is hot, yes, but in shaded areas, it's actually cooler. That's why people sit in the cool shaded areas, because the wind is a bit shadier. So we have lots of shade around our house. So we always have an airflow going through the house, and it is cooler. And if the air inside the house is hotter than the air outside of the house, then it's going to go. The cool air is always going to replace the hot air. So, but I understand what you're saying. Hot is hot, no matter where it is. But this is my own personal experience. I have found, and the wife has found, that the house is a lot cooler now that we have that door and we have ventilation through the house. Have the aircon on the timer. It comes on about 30 minutes before we go to bed. And we put the fans on, it goes off around 3 hours later, and the fans keep cooling. Yeah, well, in fact, our air conditioning is broken in the bedroom, and the wife doesn't like air conditioning. So I've if I got it fixed, I'd be tempted to say, okay, I'm going to put it on. But no, I've got used to the fans and having the door open. And so no, the wife doesn't like it, because it makes her all snuffly, and, She just doesn't like it. So she's happy with it just coming on for an hour or 2 hours in the living room and cooling everything down. Because then what happens is that when we go to bed, all the cool air, because we'll open the bedroom door, all that cold air migrates to the bedroom anyway. So it cools it down eventually anyway. Anyway, we all do what we need to do to get cool. Some people want 24 hours a day aircon. I can do without it for 24 hours a day. Okay, question. Do you have information? Do you have an information booklet online? I've got various ebooks. If you go to the description below this, you'll see various ebooks going through my Buy Me a Coffee link. Now you can go and click on the ebooks, and it'll give you a short description of what the ebook's about. I'm sort of in the process of doing like a ABC of what you need to go and do as far as coming here, because many people have asked. But I've done other ebooks with regard to retiring to Thailand, best places to hang your hammock and things like that. So go and have a look. They're only $3 for an ebook, and they're quite informative. And at the beginning of it, the description, it tells you what the ebook's about anyway. But yeah, the ebooks are quite popular. I'm going to do a few more because the amount of information people want, and there's a lot more people pulling the trigger, if you like, and making the move. So yes, I will do an ebook, like a step-by-step guide to retiring to Thailand. But again, if you want to have the conversation with me, it's $10. And if you get the information, you pay the $10. And if you don't get the information, then you don't pay at all. So it can't be any fairer than that. That's sort of a win-win situation. And have your pen and your paper ready, and you can ask any questions you want, and you get the answers there and then instantly. So, right. One agent told me that you can't use the income method for your first application for non-O visa and have the 800,000 deposit in the bank. Well, I've never, ever, ever had 800,000 baht in the bank, ever. Even when I came here 12 years ago, I've always used the income method. Now, the agent may tell you that, but let's face it, some people don't have the 800,000 baht. So if you go to the immigration, I mean, okay, let's have a few scenarios on how you can get around this problem. The agent is going to tell you they don't do that anymore because he wants the business from you, and he may be correct. But I have sent various people on the income method, and they've all got the visa. There's not one of them that hasn't been able to get the visa on the income method, because you go down to the immigration office and you tell them, listen, I haven't got the 800,000, but I've got the income method. And it's the same thing. As long as you can show 2 months income from overseas, international foreign transfer, they're okay with that. They will give you the retirement visa as long as there's 65,000 coming in every month. But let's face it, if you don't want to do that, and for some reason in your area they don't accept that method, then you can use an agent to get your initial 800,000 in the bank for 30 seconds or 3 minutes, and then it's taken out just to get your retirement visa. Then because then that gives you a 15-month visa, a 12-month retirement visa, and a 3-month O visa. But altogether, you've got 15 months sort of trouble-free visa, apart from doing your 90 days. But everybody has to do your 90-day reporting anyway. So during the next 12 months, make sure you put 65,000 baht into your bank account from your overseas bank. Then that shows the immigration office the income method. Just wait until this truck goes by. Oh, fire engine. Can't see any smoke anywhere. So yeah, so by doing that, you get the agent to do it first, and then the second year, it's only 1,900 baht because you're going to do it yourself, because then you show them the income method. There are ways also, is that some immigration officers, not all, ask to see the source of your income, because they don't like money from stocks and shares or rental income like that. They like to see that it's from a pension source. Well, there are legal workarounds around that as well, that I can suggest, but I don't openly talk about it on here for obvious reasons. But there are workarounds for everything, and everything that I tell you to do, or I can suggest you to do, are all legal, and there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. So yeah, I've directed people to do the income method, and it's worked. Not one of them have turned around and says, "Oh, we can't do it that way." So different areas might ask for different things. But of course, they want you to put 800,000 baht in the bank because it's Thailand, because it's free money for Thailand, really, isn't it? So anyway, immigration office, that's the first thing to say. And you'll hear me mention this so many times. Immigration officers are your friends. They are not there to hinder you. They're there to help you to get your retirement visa, because when all's said and done, Thailand wants your money coming in here. They will help you get what it's needed. I've renewed my spouse visa 3 times, and the Thai embassy in Australia, October will be first renewal. Oh, gone down. The chat's just rocketed up now, so sorry, I've missed that one. If you do the OA visa in UK, you have to show that you have the amount of UK in the account bank statement. If you do the OA visa in UK, you've got to show the amount in the bank. Yeah, that's possible. How many times do I need to recycle monthly 65,000 baht through my Thai bank account before I can apply for a retirement visa? Twice, 2 months. On your first application, you just need to show 65,000. But you also need to show 65,000 every month coming in. So if you want to renew it next year, it has to come into your bank account every single month. Otherwise, even if it's 1 or 2 baht short of 65, you ain't going to get your retirement visa. 65,000 every calendar month as well. I fell through that little loophole one year because I had 2 payments in December, because my fibre gate pension, I get paid twice in December because of the bank holidays and that. So we were in Chiang Mai, so I drew January's money out in December, so we had some more money. So on paper, it looks as if I didn't get any income on January, and they picked that up. Even though I showed them I got paid twice, and they said, no, because on paper, you didn't get paid any money in January. So they cancelled the visa, and I had to start all over again. So 65,000 every single month. 2 temperatures in Thailand, hot and hot. It's 3, hot and hot. Somebody sent me a picture the other day, and there was a picture of the Earth and the sun. So there's the sun, there's the Earth, and they said Bangkok is there. Much closer to the sun than the Earth is. Okay. Definitely the later now. Well, as I say, the immigration officers can help you out with that. That's for sure. Or a quick 2-minute cold shower. Yeah, I mean, our water's warm. Even taking even taking a cold shower, the water's still quite warm because it's been warming up in the tank all day because it's under the sun. Yeah, the second you walk out of the shower, the humidity goes through the roof. Yeah. But if that's, for me, that's a small problem, small price to pay for living here in Thailand. I normally do the income method, but I stopped some transfers this year because of the sketchy new tax that no one can explain, waiting for details from immigration. Yeah, same thing. Anybody who tells you how to do your taxes, don't take any notice from them, because as yet even the top tax experts don't know. And I've been asked that question so many times. I applied to one of these tax gurus who told me, oh, there's this and that and the other and the other. And at the end of the day, he said, but nothing's cast in stone. So wait until we cross that bridge, then it can be sorted out, and only then it can be sorted out. But let's face it, like everything else, there's tax loopholes, and even the tax experts, the majority of people that are here on the retirement visa have got nothing to fear, nothing to worry. There maybe is one more or two more pieces of paper to show in amongst all the paperwork that you already have to put. Is that too much to ask for? I think not. Hi Les, can you direct me towards a video you've done on the marriage visa? Yeah. If you just type in Thailand marriage visa, I've done 2 or 3 videos on the marriage visas. Yeah, it's not difficult to do. There's a mountain of paperwork to do, but it can be done, that's for sure. I haven't got me. Let's have a look. My iPad's just the batteries have gone on my iPad. No, that's all I can say is if you have a look on Thailand marriage visas, you should find one of my, or if you just go through my library on my Retired and Living the Dream channel, you'll get there eventually, because I've done lots of videos about various types of visas, 90-day online reporting, the lot. Yeah, so the new tax laws, don't worry about that. Just wait until it happens. Here we are now in May, and it still hasn't been sorted out. I was using Wise to transfer monthly 65, or should one use a high street? No, Wise, you'll get a better rate and a cheaper rate than the bank. Wise is good. Although, like, there's some person on here had a bad experience with Wise. It's like everything else. There's good and there's bad. Good days, bad days. And I look upon it, out of the millions of transfers that do every day, you're going to have 1 or 2 problems. Nothing is going to run absolutely silky smooth. So I apologize, and I'm sorry for those people that do get a problem with Wise. But over a period of time, it can be all sorted out. I've been using Wise for over 10 years now, and I've never, ever had a problem. Never had a problem at all. Technically, you can transfer 65k. If you only need to use 50,000, you can send back the 25,000 and use it again, I believe. Yes, that's I call that the recycle method, because, as I say, when I was on the retirement visa, I never spent more than 50,000. So I used to transfer 65 and then send that money back to my home country. It's your money. You know, it's up to you to do whatever you want to do, but you just recycle the money that you don't use, send it back, and then resend it back to here in Thailand. Okay, you're going to lose a little bit on exchange rates and things like that. But if you're not using the money, there's no need to send it all over here, is there? Do you have to visit immigration every 90 days, or can you? I'll do it online. 5 minutes online. I've done a video, step-by-step guide to doing online reporting, 90-day online reporting. And it is a step-by-step, and it is my 90-day application. And it goes through and it tells you what to press, what button you press, the address that you've got to go onto to log onto it, how you register for the first time. It's a easy step-by-step guide. And once you've done it online, it's so simple. We live 45 minutes away from our immigration. And before I used to go without doing it online, and you were there for 2 minutes. You go in, get your number, give you your certificate. 2 minutes later, you're coming out. 45 minutes to get there, 45 minutes to come back. It'll take me 5 minutes online to do it now. So I do it every time online now. But your first 90-day report, and when you get a new visa, will have to be in person because they want to make sure that it's you and you checked in and everything. You got your address, everything that's sorted. Then after your first one, then you can do the rest of it online. So simple. Les, I had the same problem last year. I did the same thing as you. 65 1 month. I ended up paying tea money. I didn't even get offered the chance to pay any tea money. She just cancelled my visa and said you're going to have to start all over again, which wasn't a difficult thing to do, but it's just like, oh, come on, you know. They have the discretion to do it if they want, but tea money helps. Yeah, thanks, Martin. Yeah, I did the video, 90-day online report. It's very, very simple. Why transfer does not show up as an international transfer on a Thai bank account? Ah, yes, it does. Somebody sent me $30 for this answer because they were saying the same thing. It doesn't show up as an international transfer. And when I showed him and told him what he had to do, he sent me $30 in appreciation because he could not find how you get international transfers. And I'm going to tell you now, it's dead easy, because when it comes to the reason for the money or reason for transfer, there's many reasons for transferring the money. You just need to scroll down right to the last one to enable, I forget the exact words, but to enable for long-term stay in Thailand. And that is the very, very last reason once you scroll down in amongst all the other reasons, like for holidays, family, friends, helping a neighbor, paying for a sick buffalo or whatever. The last reason is to maintain long-term stay in Thailand. And by clicking onto that, that will then show as an international transfer on your bank statement. But also, this is more often if you've got a Bangkok bank account, it'll show up with a long-term international transfer. Kasicon, it's a hit and miss. So Bangkok Bank is the bank, and that will then show as an international transfer. So you have to scroll down the reasons for transferring the money, scroll right the way down to the last one, and that one will then put the little code on your statement, international bank transfer. But even if you're with Kasicon Bank or SCB Bank or whatever, all you need to do with that, because then it'll show in your banks, because you've got to give a year's bank statements for your retirement visa when you're going to renew it. Same with the marriage visa, you've got to give a year's worth of statements. And if it doesn't show international transfers, then they're not happy about it, because it could be an internal transfer. But if you type out your 12-month statements from Wise, then that will show that it's been converted from US, Australia, New Zealand, or wherever, or UK pounds to a Thai, and it'll give the Thai amount that it's been transferred to. That is, as far as I'm aware, as far as my immigration officer said, because a couple of my bank statements didn't show international transfer because it was bank to bank. It got transferred to Kasicon, then Kasicon transferred it to mine, which on paper it looked like an interbank transfer, not an international transfer. For as long as you can print out your Wise statements that it's in your home currency, then it gets transferred to Thai baht. They're okay with that. They might not accept 12 months of it, so which I would suggest then you get a Bangkok bank account or a Kasicon, but Bangkok is the best one, and that will be able to give you your international transfer details. So again, another long-winded answer with that. I hope you got the gist of it, but it can be just scroll down to the bottom. Scroll down to the bottom, and then you'll find to maintain long-term stay in Thailand. Okay. Yeah, $30. Yes, it was nice, but he was so happy that he found that he could do it on the international transfer. Luckily, immigration office only about 10 minutes down the road. Last time wife was outside buying drinks. It was so quick, she thought something was wrong. Nice food place next door, have a meal. 2 fire engines. Must be something burning around here, but I can't smell any smoke. But yeah, I mean, some immigration officers are nicer than others. A friend of mine up near Conken, he went to the immigration office and he got there at 10 to 12 and they said, oh, well, we're shutting for lunch at 12 o'clock. So sorry, but here's a bottle of beer. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. And then 5 to 1, they're waving outside the windows, come in. And happy, smiley people. And he got his whatever he needed to go and get. Nobody else in the office getting a bottle of beer. You know, that's unheard of, isn't it? But that's what he told me. That's what happened to him. I think every immigration officer should hand you a bottle of beer when you're filling out the paperwork. I'm thinking about doing solar this year. Last electric bill was 22k. Woo, that's expensive. Yeah, panel prices are dropping. Yeah, I love solar. In fact, you may have seen my solar videos. I use solar as a backup. So if the electricity goes off, we still have the Wi-Fi, the TV, the computer, 2 sockets that we can put the fans on. So we have fans in the bedroom, and the battery is big enough to give us 2 fans working all night. So at least we've still got some cool air. And because I'm going to improve my solar system, and I'm going to build a bit bigger, because I like playing about and it's not too expensive. So I think for about 30 or 40,000, maybe 30,000 baht at tops, I'm going to get another system in my house. Although my electricity bill is only between 600 and 800 baht a month, I can certainly more than half it with the system that I'm going to put in. And that's just obtaining everything off Lazada and just building up the system slowly. But I've been contacted by a few people asking me to do a solar array system for them. I said, no, I said, copy mine if you want to copy mine, because my backup system costs us about 10,000 baht. And it gives us like 2 fans working all night. It's big enough to do that. You might... I've got lights like that around the house now. Now, these are a 12-watt system. And I've got... 20. I've got 5 of these all around the house now, which come on the night time. They are 12 volt, 5-watt bulbs, and that takes away 225 watts of energy all night. Because I have half the house, because I've got solar lights on at the back of the house. So half the solar lights come on at 3 o'clock in the morning for the last 3 hours of darkness. I've got lights here at the front that are on here from 7 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the morning. I've just played around with it because I like playing around with it. And to do solar, it's actually not expensive to do. And the new solar system I'm going to put in, I'm going to get a hybrid inverter, and I'm going to get 2 450-watt panels. And basically that will just trickle feed into the house, because we don't use the air conditioning during it, but it's enough power so we can watch the TV, have the fans on, do the little bit of cooking or whatever. And basically, we shouldn't be using any electricity. But that's, I'm going to start doing that next month. I'm just saving up the money a little bit to do that because, you know, it's still payback time, 5 or 6 years. And our electricity bill is only like 600 to 800 baht a month. So in reality, there's no need for me to do the solar because our electricity bill is so cheap anyway. Why would I do that? But if my electricity bill was 22 grand, I'd be doing something about it. I've got a friend in Surin, Dave. his electricity bill was 12 grand a month. So he put a big solar array, but his electricity bill is still 3,500 baht a month. So yeah, follow me when I'm going to do my solar array. I love solar, and I'm looking forward to playing around with it because I like electrics. So yeah, solar is the way, because you know we've got a good 6 hours of sunshine here every single day. Yes, just found it. Says funds for long-term stay in Thailand. Yeah, there you go. Funds for long-term stay in Thailand. Somebody saying hey to everybody from the chat. Hello, thanks very much for joining me. 22 gauge, you have aircon 24/7. Doubt solar will keep it up. That usage will save you some money though. Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine, his wife wants to have solar during the day. Now he's an elderly gentleman, and his electricity bill is 5,000 baht a month, but she wants to save money. And what they're going to do is put what's called a grid tie system up, where there's no batteries. So they have a certain number of solar panels, a grid tie inverter, which feeds energy into the house. And so she can have the air conditioning on during the day, just running off the solar panels. But then if they have the air conditioning on the night, that reverts back to the normal electricity. Now, the thing is with Thailand, we're doing that. If you have a big array of panels, it's going to turn your clock backwards. And if the Thai electricity company, the meter reader, sees your clock going backwards, then they'll change the clock. They'll change your meter to stop it from going backwards. So any excess energy that you make here in Thailand, there was a system where you could get paid for that, but now they don't do the system. So then you need a grid tie inverter, which is approved by the electricity board, which is maybe 3 or 4 times more than a normal grid tie inverter, just so it doesn't send the clock backwards. So it's basically, I agree with what they're saying is, you know, you've got to have the system that's backed up, because basically how a grid tie system works is that you need power from the grid to operate the grid tie inverter, and the grid tie inverter will only work if you've got power from the grid. So when the grid power goes off, the inverter goes off as well, and that's a safety backup, so it doesn't send the electricity back onto the grid, so the linesmen don't get electric shock. But there is ways and means of doing it with grid tie inverters. Solar is so interesting. There's so many variations. I've got both systems working at my house. I've got a grid tie system, and I've also, even though it's a basic backup system, I've got the grid tie system and a battery backup system. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, a jump in the swimming pool is very, very nice. Before, my wife, you might well see it. No, you can't see it. We have a hose pipe down there, and our electricity was off for 6 hours, and my wife was boiling. Is why I got the emergency backup system. So I said, we'll never ever be that hot again. And we have a hose pipe there, and my wife was showering herself with a hose pipe because the water was just trickled out from the power supply, from the mains, but it was just cool enough to cool her down. And I said, okay, that'll never ever happen again. We'll always have fans to keep us cool, and that's why I put the emergency backup system in. Nice. Yeah, the hybrid system is with batteries that store excess electric and then can be used at night. Well, the hybrid system, it's very, very good how it works. So, for instance, if you have, I'm getting one to start off with, a 450 watt panel, but I'm getting 2. So let's round it up to 1,000 watts. So at the peak time of the day, like midday, 1,000 watts or thereabout will be made. But if I'm only using 200 watts with a fridge freezer on and the TV or the computer on, you can program the grid tie and not the grid, the hybrid inverter to use just the power from the panels coming into the system. So it won't use the grid electricity. It won't use the electricity from the batteries. It'll use the power coming from the solar panels. And also then you can, like, if it's a cloudy day, then you've got battery backup. It will use the power from so it's going to use everything first before it has to use the power from the grid, which is fantastic. So that the hybrid inverters are absolutely brilliant, and they're only going to get better in time. So that's the system that I'm going to use. So let's see how much that reduces my electricity bill by. But yeah, but solar can be confusing because there's the grid tie, the hybrid, and the off-grid system. There's batteries, there's no batteries, there's gel batteries, there's lead batteries, there's LiPo batteries. Yeah, and then there's you can actually, a DIY person can do it, but they have to be very, very careful because the amps that you're dealing with are quite big, and you can cause a fire if you don't do it correctly. That was the same fire truck going the other way. Yeah, but there was one other before it as well. So maybe he's gone to top up with water because there's a water refill place just around the corner. Maybe he's got lost. Maybe he's just driving around for something to do. We used to do that. In my last 5 years, we had to go out for 3 hours a day and drive around in the fire truck just to show that there's a presence of firefighters. But we were also getting called out to heart attacks because we used to have defibs on the wagons as well. But we used to just drive around our fire patch area because we were getting called out every day anyway. So, so yeah, something to do on a Sunday afternoon. Let's have a look. Our 450 watt panel is set for night lights around the property and farm. I set it up. Yeah. Again, I've got a 100 amp battery, and the wattage use for all night is 225 watts. So because it's a gel battery, you're only allowed to go down to 50% of it. Although it's a 100 amp battery, it'll only give you 50 amp hours, because if you go any less than that, you can risk damage on the battery. So 225 watts is like a third of what I'm allowed to use, 600 watts. So, and that gets an 80 watt panel the following day over a 4 or 5 hour period, recharges the battery up for that, no problem whatsoever. So I've only got 2 80 watt panels. It's such a low amount, but the other ones on the grid tie system, which pumps on average 60 watts of power into my house every hour for 5 hours. So that sort of takes care of the fridge, because the fridge is 45 watts an hour in peak time. Okay, for my non-retirement visa, I just leave 825 baht in the bank. Never touch it, only about yeah. I mean, if you can afford it, that's by far the easiest way of getting a retirement visa, is just leave the money in the bank. And on the marriage visa, you only need 400,000. But the difference is, with the retirement visa and the marriage visa, the retirement visa, you're not allowed to go below 400,000 after the 3 months after you've got your visa. So you've got to have 800,000 2 months before and 3 months after. So for 5 months, you've got 800,000 baht tied up. Whereas the marriage visa, you only have to have 400,000 in 2 months before. It doesn't say nothing about spending all of that 400,000. You can take all that 400,000 baht out as long as you put it back in again 2 months before your application for a new marriage visa, which is strange, that, isn't it? Yeah, a bit of danger with net metering. Yeah, yeah. I mean, electricity, the Thais treat it with contempt. The Thai electrics, I was an electrician as well in England, so the Thai electrics over here is not good at all. No, I've seen so many bad installations, and I've got 2 big belts, electrical belts, from stupidity, really, thinking like in the English ways, if it's isolated, it's isolated. This is in my early days, and I've learned from having 2 very, very bad electric shocks never to trust the Thai electrics again. And the reason why I got a shock is because they'd wired it up to the mains power cables. What somebody done, they'd wired a air conditioning unit in. So rather than taking it off from like a socket or taking it straight back to the fuse board, the 2 cables that came into the house, the live and the neutral, before it gets to the consumer board, they tapped into that. So there was no fusing whatsoever. And I'd isolated the board, and I was up in the loft, and I just disconnected the cables, and I pulled it, and I got an electric shock because it was still connected to the live and the neutral. It hadn't gone through the box at all. Stupid mistake. But when you see it and you think, wow, you know, who does that? There's no fusing on it whatsoever. But that's what I'm saying. So electricity, you've got to know what you're doing over here. And I've helped many people out with the electrical problems, sorted a lot of electrical problems, and rectified a few people's problems, because it's just dangerous. And people talking about, I could go on to another story. Somebody who said they know about electricity rewired a friend's house, a brand new house, and just it's bad. It's so bad. Anyway, that's enough of that one. Yeah, that's the trouble when the electric goes out. You can't even have a shower. Yeah. One Frank showed it takes 4 car batteries to run an AC all night. Yeah, I mean, it can be done. Again, there's one guy that I know, and he asked me whether he could have, as an emergency backup, that an air conditioning could be used all night. So we have fans as our backup type of thing, but he wanted one air conditioning unit in the bedroom running all night for, say, let's say 8 hours. It's on average about 1,000 watts an hour, an air conditioning unit. So that's 8,000 watts an air conditioner is going to use for 8 hours. Okay, you can have a little bit of argument to say that it's never got 1,000 watt is when it first starts up, and it's just going to be on ticking over. But you've got to use diversity when you do your calculations, that 8,000 watts it's going to be using. So that's an awful lot. And it worked out, he'd need 13 batteries, 1,300 amp batteries to be able to run the air conditioning all night. And at 6,000 baht a battery, that's a lot of money. Now, running it during the day is a different kettle of fish, because you can have solar panels running, 450 watt each. So you only need, in peak sunlight hours, you only need potentially 2 450 watt panels to run your air conditioning during the day. So there's ways and means of doing all of these things. It's what you're prepared to put up with. And, if you put enough solar panels up and batteries, there's the guy that I follow, Ben, with his big house. He relies totally on solar because he's nowhere near the electrical grid. Now that costs him a huge amount of money to have enough electricity, battery backup, so he could have the air conditioning running all night. But I suppose when you've got no choice because of the location of your house, well, then you've got to do what you're going to do. But the LiPo batteries, you can drain 100% out the batteries and it'll still be okay, whereas the gel ones, you can only drain 50%. But I only got the gel batteries because they are cheaper, because I think battery technology in the next 5 years will come on leaps and bounds. So I've just got what I need for the short term, and in 5 years' time, I'll see what options are. I mean, let's face it, look at the price of a solar panel. For delivery of a 450 watt solar panel, it was 3,000 baht, which is not 70 quid. It's nothing, you know. It's all the bits that go with it, like the inverter is expensive, and the batteries are expensive. But the solar panels are guaranteed for 25 years anyway. So anyway, solar is the way, but the trouble is, at the minute in Thailand, the electricity is too cheap. So that's what stops people from investing in solar, because electricity is so cheap over here in comparison to the Western countries. And in the Western countries, they don't get the sun as much as they do over here. So that's why, again, it's expensive for solar in the Western countries. I mean, look at England. How many cloudy days is there in England? But the cost of solar panels and all the gubbins that goes with it, it's so expensive. Now, that can be between 8 and 10 years to get your money back for that. Let's have a look. Yeah, the fire trucks here do water the gardens around here as well. I've seen that. Yeah, battery wall tells Tesla do it. Yeah, I mean, there's battery walls that you can get. Again, it depends on how much money you've got. Like car batteries as well. The car batteries are the cheapest batteries you can get, but they are not designed for running, you know, inverters and things like that. So the likelihood that a car battery won't last as long as like a leisure battery, like a camper van battery or a motorhome battery or a caravan battery, they're designed for electricity to be drawn off them all the time, whereas a car battery is designed to give a very strong surge when you start your car up. So you pay your money, you take your choice, and you've got to have the right battery to do the right thing. Les, did you buy a tester? Yes, I've got a tester. I've got a tester, but stupidity, I was up in the loft and I just disconnected the cables because I thought the cables were connected at the board, and to my shock, I found out that they weren't. There was a few swear words said, and I just learned a big lesson from that. Stupid, it could have been more dangerous than what it was. It was just I just grabbed all of it, and luckily I didn't have my hand around it, because what happens with electric shock, all your muscles make it so you can't get rid of it. That's why you've got to touch electricity with the back of your hands, and otherwise you'll just end up grabbing it and you won't be able to let loose. So yeah, stupid mistake, and I should have known better. But I do know better now, and that's why I tell everybody about the Thai electrics. And in one of my sockets, I put an extension here in the house. And again, I did the video, but I've done a few videos about electrics in Thailand. And in one of the sockets, I've got 3 red wires coming in. One goes to the earth, one goes to the live, one goes to the neutral, and they're all red. So somewhere in the house, there's a red connected to a black, and there's a red connected to a green. Where that connection is, no idea. But that's the house that I live in. So unless I was going to do a full rewire, but I've done my tests. I've done the tests on my house, and everything's earthed, everything's done. But the color cables are wrong, you know. So I just take more care if I'm going to connect anything to anything, and verify which one goes where. And I put sleeving on the red wires, so now I know which is which. But yeah, imagine taking the socket off and there's 3 red wires, live, neutral, and earth. Nah. Do I know if patio requires? I do believe they don't, because patio is so busy, so busy. They just want you in and out, and they'll ask. This, as far as I know, they'll just ask for the basic amount of information. So you're in, paperwork filled out, and you're gone. Now, my immigration office asks for absolutely everything. They want to see my pension letter from my pension provider, the fire brigade, every year. And also that they've asked other people to show where the source of the money comes from, because they love to see it from a pension provider. Now, the reason for that, why they want to see this from a pension provider, because they'll look upon it, it's safe money. If you're getting your money from a pension provider, it's safe and it's sort of guaranteed that you're going to get your pension every month. Whereas if you got it from rental income or stocks and shares, you might lose your tenant and the stocks and shares might crash. So therefore, it's not sort of guaranteed money. Now, my argument to that is look at the United Airlines, how many thousands of people lost their pensions through United Airlines, and that was a private pension company. And like Debenhams in England, thousands and thousands of people lost their pension pots when Debenhams went bust. And there are other companies that people have paid into a private pension, it's gone bust. So is a pension source a safe bet these days? No, but this is what the immigration want to see. But again, there are ways and means around that. And, for those people who want to know, give me a call, send me an email, and we can discuss that, because there's ways and means of all legal and above board to be able to get around the pension source letter. Because it can be done legally. And there is a number of people that do that, and their immigration officers are very happy with the proof of pension letter. I've done just about all the GI electrics here on the farm, and indeed I've got a few important tips in your earlier videos talking about electrics. Oh, thanks very much for that. Glad it was helpful. But I say there are a lot of tips, again, from an electrician, safety and things like that, and taking care of what happens. Panel prices dropped by 30%. Now we need battery price. Yeah, battery prices need to drop, that's for sure. Right, highlights. Is the consensus with Farang's married to a Thai that the marriage visa is the best choice, visas rather than retirement visa? I know a lot of it. I've had sort of both sides of the coins. The retirement visa, you're in and out in 15 minutes on a retirement visa, but you need that amount of money. A marriage visa, you could be in there for an hour, and certainly there's a load more paperwork to do with the marriage visa than it is the retirement visa. But it's not impossible. We gather all the information. I mean, we keep 3 sets of information that every year that we do, because you have to give them 2 sets, and then we make a 3rd set so we know exactly what paperwork they're required, because you don't get any of the paperwork back from the immigration office. So what they ask for, you give in 2 sets, and one goes to Bangkok and the other one stays at like Rayong. There must be a massive warehouse somewhere just full of all of this paperwork, but the paperwork is about that thick. There's a lot of information that you've got to give to them. It's not impossible. It just takes time to assimilate all the pieces of paper, but it's not impossible. So now we have a 3rd set, and we just basically reproduce everything that was being asked for the year before. And invariably, we go down 2 weeks before it's due and say, listen, this is the paperwork. And we go to the bank and we get the paperwork or the letter from the bank to say, yes, this is the guaranteed 12-month statements that we've given them, in the hope that if they're happy with the amount of paperwork, she'll stamp it there and then. And there was only last year she was happy and she stamped everything on the first time that we went there. But even then, even though she stamped it, we still got told off a little bit. But we do it now. So if she says, I want some more paperwork, then we think ahead of what could she ask for. And we think of every scenario. And then the wife says, oh, there you go. We have this, we have that, we have the other. But last year, when she took the passport away, ready to stamp it, Ply was like, yeah, we've got it. First time ever in 5 years. This is, 5 years. This is our 6th year this year. We got it first time. But what happened, she came back and she told my wife off because I didn't get my passbook updated as often as I should have done. And the landlady, one of her signatures was in black ink and it should have been in blue. So we still didn't get away without being told off. So this year, we've told our landlady we've got blue pens. So when she signs the paperwork to say that we're living at this house, it's in blue ink. So, and I do get my bank book updated more often now. Right, so look, panels getting more. Yeah, most of the solar installers have financing now. The overcharge for labour, maybe 70% of the Yeah, there are a few companies, but I still find them quite expensive. I mean, there's a couple of people. I mean, one guy got $250,000 baht. Woo! Just like wow, you know, that's crazy prices. And if you actually look at all the bits and pieces, yeah, the labour price is a lot. But then I've seen one installation where he had 10 guys working, and he did it. It still took 2 days, but 10 guys working. That's a lot of staff to pay. And then there's the deliveries, collecting. But labour's cheap over here. But 10 guys to put one installation in. 3 reds. Yeah, honestly, 3 reds. I showed it on my video. Yeah. No, Grunsky in time, yeah. Got 1,000-volt shock once. Took the skin off my thumb and ended up ECG machine. Heart rate was okay. Lucky to be alive then. Yeah, Les, you're right about Eastern Airlines, Pan Am, TWA, United, and many more lost everything after working 30 years. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If immigration look upon it, it's a safe pension, but tell that to all of them employees from the airlines industry who lost everything. Les, have you seen any houses in Thailand with double or triple thick walls, 12 to 18 inches, so the outside heat cannot transfer it through to the walls during the day? No, I've never, not one I've seen with a cavity wall where there's 2 walls. They just don't build them like that here in Thailand. What you can get, which is good, is the thermal blocks, and the very, very light blocks. You can get 2 different sizes. I don't know how many centimeters they are, but there's certainly 2 sizes. And what that does, that stops the warmth coming through the house. Now, there maybe 2 or 3 times the cost of the breeze blocks that they use that are only that thin. Like this house here, it's only a single block. And when the sun gets on the side of the house, you can feel the warmth on the inside. A friend of mine built his house with these thermal blocks, and it's very cool on the inside. Even on the side of the house exposed to the sun all day, there's no heat transfer. They're very, very good. But again, they're more expensive. But for me, it's well worth paying the extra money so you don't have to have that problem. Getting rid of that radiant heat during the day is probably the biggest part of your electricity bill, to get rid of the heat. So yeah, I've never seen them with a cavity wall insulation, things like that. Never seen them with 2 bricks. That's all strange to them over here. Like, they don't put the damp-proof course in the floor either. So the floor membrane, so that a lot of damp comes up through the walls. But it is what it is. But you know, you can insist on the blocks. I would go for the thermal blocks every time. Yeah, we bring everything in multiple copies and just take copies of our random documents request. Yeah, always, if you can take more, then you can give them more. But if you don't take enough and they're fined that little bit, like, then yeah, okay, go back, do all the paperwork and come back again. They build houses here by hammering columns into the ground. Makes it very hard. Yeah, I mean, that's where the sink columns into. I mean, that's quite because that works on friction, and they put the columns down at the wall. But a lot of properties as well is that they build it up. You know, they might have a metre or a metre and a half of substrate soil. You're supposed to let it rest on there for a year before you put any foundations on. But even so, I mean, that's not solid earth. I like the trenches that I built my own house. I was on a self-build scheme and 2 schemes in England. First scheme we built 27 houses. Second scheme we built 35 houses. So I did everything from putting the foundations in to putting the roof tiles on and everything in between. But over here they don't do trench foundations like that at all. It's weird. But that's why the house price. You can actually buy a truck over here, which costs more than it costs to build a house. I mean, this house here, it's valued at 3 million. And to build it, you can probably build it for 1.5 million, which is 25,000 pounds. So, you know, to build houses over here, it's not expensive to do at all. Are there any thermal sheets for the ceiling? Yeah, there is. There are foil back plasterboard sheets, which you can get. The foil that you put on the back of the tiles, that is very, very effective, because I did that at the wife's house in Karat, and it's got to be the coolest room in the house. And we insulated all my wife's ceiling in the house, and that stopped a lot of that radiant heat from coming in. But at the back of the house, there was a lean-to, and it was just like the concrete tiles that were just on, and the heat that used to come through from that was amazing. But we put the foil over that, and it's noticeably cooler than in the rest of the house, even though we had the bats put on the top of the ceiling to stop the heat from coming through. So the roof foil for me is the number one. Get the roof foil, which reflects any of the heat away from getting into the loft. But the loft is very, very hot anyway. So you've got to have vents in your loft to get rid of that hot air. Otherwise, everything just radiates down, and getting rid of all of that heat, that's the biggest thing that I would say over here in Thailand. In any warm country, just dissipate the heat, get rid of the heat that builds up in your house as much as you can. And insulation in the walls, insulation in the ceilings, even having reflective glass. You can get the film that if the sun shines onto your window, wow, that just now transfer that heat into the room. Whereas if you have the reflective film on the window, that dissipates the heat and it stops it from coming into that room. It's strange, isn't it? Because I remember in England, I was hell-bent on keeping the heat inside the house. I put draft sealant everywhere. We had double glazed windows put in the house to try and stop the heat. We drew the curtains over the windows on a nighttime early to stop any of the heat from getting out of the house. Here, it's the opposite way around. You want any cool air coming in to cool your house. But the electricity is so much cheaper here than it's cheaper to keep cool than it is to try and keep warm. All right, let's have a look somewhere else. Someone's wife knows built a house about a year ago or so ago, and when the rain came really heavy, it subsided and was again. What I say to people is, don't. How can I put it? To be polite is the family always want to help the family out, and if you're with a Thai lady, she'll say, my uncle, my cousin, my brother, my friend of a friend of a friend of a friend knows how to build houses, because they want to spread the wealth. And to be fair, some of these people who say, yeah, I can build a house, have no idea how to build a house, no idea about insulation, no idea about foundations, no idea about putting roofs on, but it keeps the money within the family. But that also causes problems, because then, you know, as you're paying for all of this, you're paying for their mistakes as well, and you're paying to get their mistakes rectified. And if you tell your wife off and then to tell the Thai people off, then she loses face. So my suggestion is get referrals of other people. There are plenty of online forums where you can get recommendations for builders and things like that. Use a building company. You'll pay a little bit more money to get a building company, but the chances are you'll get it done a lot quicker and a lot cheaper, and a better quality job done than getting family friends. You know, Uncle Bob knows a builder. That's the mistake that I see many people do. But even so, there's a couple of guys that I follow here on YouTube that are getting houses built or have had the houses built, and even with the company you can still get problems. But it's just, you know, it's just looking at it all the time and getting things sorted out and being on top of things, and if any mistakes happen, getting on it straight away, because one mistake can lead to a lot of other mistakes. For me, if you don't have the foundations right, the rest of it is going to be on shaky grounds, as my friend who just said there. You know, once the rainy season came, it just cracked and crumbled. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, so again, make sure the builders know what they're doing before you. It's a lot of it. Well, it's not a lot of money compared to England to get a house built. But if the whole house is uninhabitable and it sinks and it cracks and it crumbles, then you have to pay twice, because then you have to move it all off and build again, which isn't good. I was just debating online about ceiling insulation. Guy said it keeps the heat in. Yeah, again, I've tried that, and we insulated the bedroom, but the rest of the house is just because I've had little thermostats everywhere around the house, because I'm looking for the hot spots, and I'm looking if I can get it cooler or, you know, warmer by putting the insulation in. And I find in the bedroom, by insulating the bedroom, because the sun warms our bedroom wall up on the outside on the evening time, and you can't get rid of that heat. And the rest of the house on the nighttime is cooler than the bedroom. So swings and roundabouts, really. It stops a lot of the heat from coming down into the bedroom, but on the nighttime, the sun warms up the wall, which then radiates the heat into the bedroom. But now, by having the windows open and the doors open, especially that new door that we've had fitted, it stops all of that problem. The house is still warm, but a lot less warmer than it was before we had the door fitted. Yeah, 1.5 million baht equals 25,000 pounds. Yeah, I mean, you get a truck for that over here. It's crazy, isn't it? The price of a truck is the price of getting a house built. You would get nothing built. Maybe you get a garage built now for 25,000 pounds in England. Yeah, that's what I said about reflective films on the windows, especially the doors that are facing the windows, especially patio doors as well, because patio doors is a huge expanse of windows. Yeah, you have to babysit the build every day. Took 9 months to build. We camped on the property for most of it. Because they'll try, you know, they'll cut corners, and they'll do it their way. Again, the guy that I know, he had another guy supervise, and he wanted to do it the European way. Well, the Thai builders have no idea about the European ways, and they made so many mistakes, because the guy who was supposed to be supervising it, some days he was there, some days he wasn't. And when he wasn't there, the Thais built it. Oh, I think he wants it this way. I think he wants it that way. Well, you know, thought is different from European building regs to Thai building regs. So get a Thai company in to build it. It's cheap to build a house over here anyway, so why scrimp on that? You're still going to get a good quality house built for a fraction of the cost it's going to cost you to build in your home country. So spend that little bit of extra money and get a proper house built. all that time crap of deceit ultimately killed the dream of retirement there. I know as long as I had the money, I would be looked after, but in reality, I would be surrounded by, what happened there? Comment just went, I've just lost the comment. It's just shut up. Didn't quite finish reading what it says. Okay, why do you say that they lose face? So what does that actually mean? Okay, face. It's a massive thing over here. It's a big thing. It's called losing face. Okay, I'll give you an example in my house here. We had a concrete water tank which needed to be knocked down. Solid concrete. It was about 1 meter in diameter, and the lid on the top of this water holder, it must have weighed a couple of tons. A lot of, I mean, it was a big, thick, heavy. And these people were knocking the front of this concrete structure. And my thoughts were, as you're knocking the front of it, if that lid came down, it'd kill somebody. So I told Ply to go and have a word with them and say, listen, you know, be careful, knock it in from the sides, you know, because you've already knocked the brickwork out from the front. And this is the losing face part of it. Now, my wife, her dad was a builder. So my wife grew up with her dad building houses, and, you know, he's built her house. So she knows a little bit about building. But loss of face, the guy we employed who said he was a builder, he was many other things, but he wasn't a builder, said, listen, I've been doing this for 25 years. Don't you start telling me what to do. And my wife says to him, she said, listen, I don't want anybody to die on my property. So she said, you either do it as I ask or walk away. So he's like, whoa. And that's a loss of face, because a woman who wasn't a builder telling this builder, his group of people listened to my wife telling him off. And that's a loss of face. And like the other losses of face on a building site. So for instance, if the guy says, yeah, I know everything about hanging doors, I can do brickwork. And if the brickwork is like, you know, all over the place, and your husband's going to complain to say, listen, go and have a word with him. Them bricks aren't straight. It's a wonky wall. It's not straight. It's not level. Then for her to go and tell him that, oh, listen, my husband says the wall isn't straight. He's not happy with it. That's losing face, because she's had to tell him that it's wrong. And losing face is a big thing in Thailand. So, like, if you ever have an argument with a Thai person, let them win. Even if they're wrong, let them win, because it's a big show of losing face. And it's just, you're better off walking away than trying to argue with them. Just like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But losing face is a big thing over in Thailand. I think it was, yeah, I don't know why it was, I mean, I didn't delete it. I was just reading it and then it just disappeared. So I don't know why. YouTube actually do delete a lot of stuff. You know, I've had emails of people saying, why have you deleted my message? Why have you deleted this? I don't delete anything unless it's offensive, which I'm lucky enough that I don't get many offensive messages. I mean, my likability is 98.8%. So I don't get very many dislikes, and I don't get many bad comments, but occasionally YouTube do delete or whatever, or hold it back for reviews. Now, I never actually go into that. There is a section, I looked at it the other day and there was about 20 odd messages, but it only holds them there for 5 or 6 days and then it deletes them anyway. So, and the bit that I read, I couldn't find anything offensive in there, but YouTube is a mind of its own, really. Hi Les, we're on an annual trip to Thailand, currently in Hua Hin. Hua Hin's beautiful place. Looking at properties, locations, must admit the weather on this holiday is the hottest I've ever known. It is. It's the hottest Even Thailand agrees that it's the hottest it's ever been. No health and safety here. Well, without masks. Cook concrete with just flip. No, the flip flops, steel toe cap flip flops. That's what our builders had. Steel toe cap flip flops. Hang on, it expires on 13th in a week. Tell your subscribers to make sure that they put a reminder on their phone. I should know better after working in immigration for 4 years. Stupid mistake. Oh, I must have missed something. I can't quite understand that one. Losing face, humiliation. Yeah, that's another word for it. Les, do you hire yourself out for any consulting of electrical work or solar system design and installation, especially for expats? No, I don't. I can give advice and I can give a place a once over and I can say yes or no, which I have done several people. I don't class that as work. I don't give any guidance for solar panel because I'm not 100% solar expert myself. I'm still learning myself, but I sort of know the basics and I can work from the basics. And a lot of my stuff I look on YouTube as well to understand how it works. And because there's that many YouTube channels, and you listen to some people and they'll have a totally different argument against something else. Now I assimilate all of that information and take the best parts of it. And there are quite a lot of big YouTubers in the solar industry. So take their guidance for things like that. Now, electrical stuff, I don't hire myself out for doing that, but I'll gladly give advice. If anybody lives in the Rayong area, cup of tea or take me out for a meal somewhere, and I can give you electrics the once over. But basically, electrics is a big thing over here. I'm a strong believer. I mean, my NIC inspector was so finicky about everything. Is that if you've got a fail off him, I mean, he failed me once because I didn't have a sticker on a electrical panel to say that there was two different color wiring, because it changed from, it used to be black and red and it changed to brown and blue. And in this installation, there was two coloring cables, because I, to be honest, I ran out of labels and I think I'll come back to do that. And I forgot to do it. And he went through all, he said, okay, let's go and have a look at this one. And I phoned the people up because I always do a good job. I don't have to go back and think, oh, well, I'll check this, I'll check that. I always do it as it's supposed to be. So I rang the client up and I said, oh, my NIC inspector wants to come and have a look at the installation that I did. And he checked everything else out and he said, everything's good, Les, but you haven't got the sticker. So I'm going to have to do another sample test of another installation. So he just picked another installation again. And he was like, wow, a sticky label, nothing wrong with the electrical system or the installation that I did. But because it didn't have a sticky label on the fuse board, because I forgot and I'd run out the labels and I never went back to put it on. He did it. He said I had to have a retest. And that cost me £125 for another test. And then he said, you won't do that again, will he? I said, no, I'll never do that again. So if he's seen the standard of electrics over here, he'd pull his hair out. He really would. Let's do so they don't like to be corrected or criticism. No, they don't, because they think they are right. And you can make a mistake to say that, you know, they don't like being told off. They're like kids, really. They're like kids. No kids like to be told off. So you've got to be very delicate, and you can say, well, what about it? I'd like you to do it this way. I'd like you can be persuasive and get them to do it, to make it look as if you're not telling them off, but just say, listen, I prefer if you did it this way. I prefer if you did it that way. But that's through the also using your wife to be, she has to be quite clever as well, because she's, let's face it, she can speak Thai and you can't. It's a different ball game living here in Thailand. It really is. All right, I'm saying that the deceit, the losing face, and the crap ultimately killed my idea of retirement in Thailand. If there is money in good, I will be surrounded by psychopaths. Oh, well, that might be because you've used psychopaths. Maybe as we are surrounded by these type of people. Yeah, psychopath person who acts obsessively towards someone important or gain advantage. Yeah, there's every type of person that you can ever meet here lives in Thailand. Oh, London cabbie, £5 for a super chat. Oh, thanks very much for that. Much appreciated. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm an electrician in the UK. When I was with my ex in Jomchim, she owned a hotel. She asked me to change the switch, so I thought I'd have a go on my purples, red, grey, blacks. Put the switch back as I could not work out what they'd done with it. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Mother charge extra for work if they see you. Yeah. Thai, Tao, hello Les, hello. London cabbie, hello. With the electrics, I mean, people ask me whether I do a consultancy and things like that. I'm going to a friend's house up in another part of Thailand. We're going to have a look at his house. He's just bought the house, and he's asked me to come and give the electrics the once over. So he sort of did the video, and I said, you should do this, that, and the other. So I've given him some advice and examples to do. And we're going up on a holiday for a few days, and I'm going to direct him towards what he should do and what he shouldn't do. And to be fair, the electrics in his house isn't as bad as I've seen it. But let's face it, when all's said and done, you want things that are not going to burn things out. But I'll just give you one example of somebody who says he knows what he was doing. And this is one of the examples that I picked up for a friend of mine. He asked me to come and have a look at the electrical circuit. Now, this guy says he knew what he was doing with the electrics. But if he knew what he was doing with electrics, why has he done this? On one circuit, it went to a pump. It went to a shower. And off that feed, it was a 32 amp feed to the shower, which was acceptable, 32 amp feed to the shower. But then he also split it to go to a pump, to his underground pump. And also coming off that 32 amp fuse was the lighting circuit to the bathroom. So a 32 amp fuse covering a lighting circuit and a shower and a pump. And this is a guy who said he knows what he's doing with the electrics. So I told him how it needed to be altered, and he altered it to a better, with the advice from me, a better situation. But that's what I'm saying. Some people who say they know what they're doing, they don't. And this wasn't a Thai person; it was a foreigner. I'll just leave it at that. But don't say you know how to do it if you don't, because it's dangerous. Uh, 2 hours and 28 minutes we've been going, and I want my second bottle of water. So now that wind's dropped, we did have a little bit of a breeze here, but now the wind's dropped, and you can feel it just getting a little bit sticky now. It's still 34 where I'm sat. It is 5:20 in the evening, so 6:30 it'll be dark. It'll be dark at 6:30, and but for me, how it feels now in the UK, it feels like a beautiful, hot sunny summer's evening, as it would be in England on a sunny day. The sun's beginning to dip down there, so now all the long shadows are coming, and it's beautiful. And as if I wasn't talking to you, I'd be sat on that sofa with a this time of night, maybe a bottle of beer, something like that, or a whiskey and coke, until about 6:15, just before it gets dark, and that's when all the mosquitoes and that come out, and that's when you go inside for an hour, and because all the bugs come. So there's sort of two times of the day that the bugs are really bad, and that's on the dusk, on the evening, and at dawn when the sun's just coming up for an hour on the morning, for an hour on the evening. If you go outside, you are the buffet lunch, and anything and everything will just, try to suck your blood. But after that hour, it's great because we've got solar lights here, and there's one just there, and then there's that one there. So on evening time, this is all quite well lit up, so we can sit outside, and it's cooler on the night time as well. So we have friends over, so we light everything up here, when we have a get together type of thing, and it's just great. But the temperature now, I wish you could feel it. It's just like, imagine it as a very, very nice, one of the summer's warmest evenings, because the temperature just feels like that. And it's lovely because it's been cloudy or overcast all day, so it isn't as hot as it would be. It doesn't warm all the concrete up and everything behind you and around you. So it's a pleasant temperature. But hopefully the rain will be here by the end of the month, and that will just cool everything down. Marvelous. Okay, right. A guy got banned from Instagram for showing how to kill apps on Fire Sticks. Algorithm has no idea of context. I know the answer. I bet no one ever has an electrical test done on their houses. No, Sid. Absolutely, the answer is correct. Yeah, no is the answer. In fact, there's a guy that I know has just had a brand new house built on a brand new development, and he's got 12 ways on his fuse board, and every fuse is a 20 amp fuse. Every fuse is a 20 amp fuse for the lighting, for the heating. Don't have heating over here. For the lighting, for the air conditioning, for his showers, everything is on 20 amp fuses, and he's got 12 fuses. So the whole array, he's got a lighting circuit, he's got every aircon circuit, it's got its own circuit. A shower, every shower's got its own circuit, but every single circuit is on a 20 amp fuse. He's got an RCD as well, so if anything goes wrong, the RCD covers it. And I would say the biggest thing to get over here is an RCD or an RCBO, and that's so if there's any fault with the electrical system, it goes off. That's the safest thing that you can get fitted over here, and I would suggest that anybody gets an RCBO. But no, I used to do electrical inspections for landlords and things like that, and like landlords in England, it was every 5 years. And wow, you just pick up loads and loads of faults with there. And because the regulations change so much, 16th, 17th, 18th editions, I was fitting brand new fuse boards, different fuse boards, whilst I was an electrician. And now the fuse boards, because they were plastic, they're against the regulation. They have to be a metal to contain fire and things like that. So any of the houses that I put brand new fuse boards in, which were plastic, now all them fuse boards have to be changed to be metal. So that's what I'm saying. The regulations in England changes so much, and now this is how ludicrous I think it is. You have to have a torque screwdriver that screws the screw up to a certain torque setting. And then in your paperwork, you've got to say that screw 6 or out of, fuse 6 or whatever, and you torque the screw up to this particular setting. Then the screwdriver has to be inspected every year or every couple of years. and get a calibration that it's on the correct torque setting. Wow, you know, gone are the days when I used you just tighten it to as much as you can without over tightening it. But this is how silly it is. The regulations, if anything, in the UK, the regulations have gone overboard in comparison to what they are over here. You know? But I took pride in my job as an electrician. I you know, safety was my utmost concern. And when I look at anything, I'll tell anybody here, it's still so cheap to get electrical devices here. So why scrimp on it? Something that can kill you. You know, you can scrimp on many things, but don't scrimp on the electrical things. Yeah, that's the trouble. Once the sun goes down, the breeze drops and all the pent-up heat gets dispersed around the house. Yeah, someone got a deal. I mean, in this estate, there were 400 houses. 400 houses all had 20 amp fuses because every house was the same. Sometimes see you driving the tractor, mowing the grass and such. Did you get advice from the lawyer to make sure it wouldn't cause trouble with immigration? Oh, it can't be. Oh, somebody's cooking something with like a chili paste. Very, very strong. No, that can't be me. I don't drive tractors. I cut the grass and things like that, but I'm allowed to cut the grass and cut the hedges. You're allowed to work on your own house. 42 years of doing the electrics, it's getting mental. I'm getting out of it, getting ready to leave and move to Asia. Yeah, the electrics, there's still a few electrical guys that I follow on YouTube, and that's where I get my information from. You know, the ludicrous, you know, and the theft to get your tools stolen. I mean, I got my van broken into twice when I lived in the UK, and like there are some companies now that are building sort of fault-proof vans so that you can't get your tools sorted. But when they peel back the doors, the cost of getting a new door is very, very expensive. When they bang the locks out and open the doors, you might be able to get your tools in a cage inside the van that they can't get into, but the damage that's been done to your van by peeling the doors or popping the locks and things like that. Now, to get your van done like a cage, it was £2,700 to get your van done, but they could still peel the doors off. So there's got to be something that they can't peel the doors off, and there's some sort of certification or something like I said, this van is proved to be impenetrable or something like that. Just make it so it's like a fortress, and that's a deterrent to send somebody to somebody else's van that isn't like that way. But I mean, as I said, the tools that they stole out of my van, a couple of £1,000 worth of tools, that's a big heavy hit. You know, it's crazy. So any you know, tools that get stolen, you know, you're working, and that's the tools that give you your living, and some little scallywag will come and steal everything off you. Yeah, I don't blame you for getting out of it. New Zealand was so basic compared to the UK in terms of buildings. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I went around New Zealand. It was like going back 10 years for properties and things like everything was just so basic. I mean, we stopped in a house. There was a gap at the bottom of the door like that, and it went from like 1.5 inches down to about 1/4 inch, and the door, and it's just like, you know, you know, we would have had draft excluders and everything fitted to that to stop any draft from coming through the doors. But I enjoy New Zealand. We traveled around New Zealand in a motorhome for 3 months and just loved it. But it was like stepping back in time. It's Thailand even less so the regs are wiring a family home like the UK. I don't know. I believe there are some regulations that has to be done to, but also there is a course supposedly for electricians to go to, and there is a standard, but there's nothing like the regulations that we have, with the NIC, the code and things like. I've never seen it, never ever seen anything like that. And the standard of education for electrics is very bad as well, because like over here, like the air conditioning guys, you see so many air conditioning guys that maybe seen it, done it once or twice, and now they're air conditioning guys. And I've seen a couple of guys. I mean, we had a couple of guys came round to have a look at our aircon, the one that was in our bedroom that isn't working, and there was no gas in it. He said, "Oh, you've got a leak in it." I said, "Well," sarcastically, I said, "Well, I know that. That's why we've called you here." "Oh," he said, "we need to fill it up and wait for it to run out of gas." I said, "Well, why can't you?" I mean, this is all through translation. My wife was telling them what I wanted to portray to them, and then they told my wife told me, so it was like a three-way conversation. And I said, "Well, why not fill it up with gas? You must have a detector that tells you the gas is coming out." No, we don't have anything like that." "Well, how would you find that the gas is leaking?" "Because then the gauges will tell us that the gas is leaked out." "So how would you find out where it's leaking?" Oh, I don't know." I said, "Okay, go away. We'll get somebody with a meter." But that's what I'm saying. Air conditioning is such a lucrative job. They charge like 500 baht to clean an air conditioning unit out. And you think the average salary is 300 to 400 baht a day. So cleaning one air conditioning unit out with two people, you only have to do 2 a day, and you've earned your income. And, you can do at least 10 a day. But same as the electrician. "Oh, I can do that. That looks easy. Pulling wires and connecting wires up to this. Oh, that looks easy. So now I'm an electrician." Yeah, surprised at the word of RCDs. Yeah, again, this guy who knows a lot about electrics, that did a friend's house of mine, didn't put an RCD in it at all, and the electrics that he did was so bad, and like it was criminal not even to put an RCD on it. It's just crazy. Anyway, I've made it much. It's not correct, but I've made it much safer than what it was. I've suggested how to make it much safer than what it was. Put it like that. Yeah, the earth bonding's got ridiculous in the earthing. You're lucky if you get an earth here. Tony Montana, Thailand. We'll catch up soon for a coffee. We're almost there. Your boots are almost on the ground, so looking forward to it when you get in here. Always welcome to sit on the sofa and have a cup of coffee and pass the time away and get all your ducks in a row. Looking forward to it. Catch you later. Thanks for joining. Yeah, 500 baht a day to do the air conditioning unit. Yeah, I'll mention that in my Thai Gilson. I have mentioned the career stuff before, but he's not interested. Yeah. Again, what I wanted to do when I first came here, full of aspirations and dreams and think I want to help the world. And I know how bad the electrics is over here. There's an electrician in Cambodia, and I wanted to sort of follow his example. And what he's done, he set up an electrical school where he teaches people how to be electricians. And what they get their practical experience from is that they go to poor neighborhoods who could never ever afford to put electrics in, and it's all done by charity type of thing. And they'll rewire this poor person's house, put a new fuse board in, run the cables, do everything, do it as legally as possible, and 100% legal, or like that, and with the regulations and a safe electrical installation. they would do this a number of times. Then they could go out as a qualified electrician in Cambodia and make a bloody good living out of that, out of being an electrician. Because let's face it, electricians are always in demand. Once I become an electrician in the UK, my phone never ever stopped. And it's the same over here. I get phone calls almost weekly. Ladies, what about this? Can you do that? Can you do this? Can you help me? Once you're an electrician, you're never ever out of work. So I wanted to do that over here in Thailand, but no. I need a work permit. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do the other. There were so many obstacles put in my way. And all I wanted to do was for Voluntary set up a school and Voluntary teach people on how to do electrics and how to do it like a European way or a safe standard way. And but no, I wasn't allowed to do it because I had to find, I think, 2 million baht to put into a fund to be able to do it. And it's just like the legislation was just prohibitive. So I never ever did it. But would I do it? Yes, I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat because, one, it helps people get a qualification. And once you've got the trade, no matter where you are in the world, you will never, ever, ever be out of work. But whether it ever comes off the ground or not, I don't know. There was a couple of guys, they had the building companies, and they were from the UK. And I asked to see whether they could actually help me because they had a legitimate business, and I wanted to sort of see if I could go in with them and set this up. But nobody ever come back to us, so I take it that it was too much trouble. Do you ever come across Peter Brook's NIC? No, not the inspector. It's Artisan Electrics, and I forget the other guy now in London. Nick somebody. There's like two electrical companies that I follow, but I haven't seen them for a while. But I've never watched the electrical inspector. But the electricians are good, you know, because they're I mean, the builders, the plumbers. Yeah, I know about electrics, mate. I'll do this for you. And again, bad work makes good viewing, doesn't it? You know, I'm sure there are some people who are quite knowledgeable and they'll do it for safety and for helping somebody out. But anyway, it is what it is. But as I say, looking at Thailand, be safe, you know, get your electrical system checked. Hi, Les. I've listened to many YouTube live streams over the last few years, and I want you to know that this was the most informative session that I've ever seen. Lots of great information. Thanks, mate. Thanks very much, Brendan. Much appreciated. I can go off on a tangent, but as I say, if people ask the questions, and if I can answer the questions, I'll answer the questions to the best of my ability. And I don't think I've ever failed yet. But thanks so much for the comment. Very much appreciated. Hi, Les. Greetings from the sunny UK. Can you speak about payments using mobile apps that Thais do for 7-Eleven, taxis, etc.? I believe the popular ones are Prompt Pay, QR code, and digital wallets. Now, I'm old-fashioned with that. The wife does everything. She's got apps on her phone, and because she runs a sausage business and she sells snacks on the beach, people have the QR code and people top up by these apps type of thing. I have no idea with them. My friend pays everything with phone. Ding, 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 ding. I like to see the cash coming out my wallet. I feel the pain when you take the cash out of the wallet. I have a certain amount of money in the wallet, and when it gets down to the green ones, I know I haven't got much left in the wallet. I prefer that. But there are apps there, and I'm just old-fashioned. I don't want to go that way. I want to see coming out my wallet, where if you pay everything by phone, I know you get the messages from the bank. You've got this amount in your bank now. You've got that amount of money in the bank. I like to know it's coming from your wallet. I'm old-fashioned with that. But yeah, you can get all of these apps because the wife's got all of them apps and she pays everything. I pay for the landlady. I transfer money to her. I transfer money to my wife, and that's just on the normal bank app. So everything else, 7-Eleven, you can pay for almost everything at 7-Eleven. The electricity bill, the water bill, you just go there and 7-Eleven and you can pay everything there. Can tourists use that system too, or do we need a Thai bank account? I believe if you've got the app and it's just a pay, then it just transfers from your bank to their bank. So I believe that that app will cover your money as well. But what that does for your transfer rates and things like that, I don't know. So that's maybe one question I can't answer truthfully or properly, because I don't use the system myself, so I don't really know. I'll give you a call on the phone when I get time to come up. And yeah, no problem. Anytime you want. I believe you got my telephone number. So yeah, no problem. As I say, you'll be here soon. You'll be getting all excited now because you're almost there. I'd be with you on the teaching side of teaching younger guys to the correct way of doing things. I used to teach testing myself. Now, testing and inspection, many electricians hated it. I loved it. Me, you know, if there was a problem, I would never stop until it was fixed. And I just love fault finding, and it's great to be able to do that, because if you can fault find, it's such a pleasing example when you fixed it and you know what's caused it, and you can, you know, happy customers as well. Wow, are your customers happy? There was, as an example, there was one lady, she called me to have, because one of her fuses just kept tripping intermittently. So I put a C-rated fuse. It was a B-rated fuse, but I put a C-rated fuse in it. But I did all my tests, the insulation resistance tests, and everything came up great. And we put the washing machine on, put the microwave, we put everything on that one circuit to see if it would pop, and nothing popped. And a week later, she rang me up and she says, Leslie, it's just gone again. I said, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Put everything on again, the washing machine, the microwave, and I went back there and still nothing happened. Never popped. And I was there for an hour having a cup of tea and a bacon sandwich. And I said, well, I've checked everything. It's not showing any faults. Anyway, long story short, I went there 6 times and we found out the problem. And it was they'd taken a socket off and just twisted the wires together behind the tiles. And when we eventually asked the question, you know, where does it go bang? Is there any? And she said there. And I said, did you have anything behind them tiles? She said, yeah, we used to have a socket. I found it 6 times, and I charged her £35 initially to change the fuse. And the 6 times I didn't charge her anything because I hadn't fixed the fault. And she said, you're the only electrician that never charged every time he comes around. I said, well, I didn't fix the problem, did I? I said, I can't charge you money if I hadn't fixed the problem. And I thought I would have got a lot of referrals off her for me honesty. And, you know, she still only had to pay £35 and I fixed the problem. I never got one referral off her, even though she was a teacher at a school. Never got one job from that one job. But such is my dedication for finding out problems. I enjoy doing it because there's always, if you can fix the problem, that's brilliant. But I like showing people what to do and, you know, to be safe. Yeah, using the QR code and paying thing. Yeah, that's good to hear that your wife's business isn't. She never makes a lot of money. She doesn't make a lot of money. You know, she might make 300 or 400 baht for the day, but we live 24/7 with each other, and we go everywhere and we do everything together. For me, she's talking to all the Thai people now. She's talking to the other food sellers, so that gives her interest. It gives us something to do. She's talking about the Thai crap. We're talking about our English crap here. And the Thai and the English crap, it doesn't mix, doesn't go well. I can't tell her what's going on with our government in the UK because she has no idea. She can't tell me what's going on with everything that's happening on it because I have no idea either. This just gives her escape. She can talk to other people and she likes it, enjoys it. And she comes back because it's like she's got rid of all her anxiety and frustrations and, you know, put the world to rights but with the Thai friends. And it works. It works well. You know, I've got no complaints over that. I have my, we have a brunch club every Thursday that we go to, and we put the world to rights there, and it's just guys. So, you know, what's good for me, it's good for her also. So yeah, it's just a different way of living. Oh, hello there, Dave. Better late than never. Thanks very much for calling, mate. Hope everything's okay with you, Dave. How was your burn, your scald? I hope you're feeling better now. Need to pour a little bit more water with it, with your whiskey. I hope everything's okay, Dave. Speedy recovery, mate. I hope everything goes well. I use Bolt, I use Uber. I've never used any of them, Bolt or Uber or Grab, anything. We don't even get food delivered. 7-Eleven, if you want, they'll deliver you a cup of coffee if you want them to. But no, we'll go down to 7-Eleven because the wife likes going down, and then we always get more than what we go down for. But 7-Eleven is very good. If you do a good job, 2 people know about it. If you do a bad job, 100 people know about it. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Leslie, yes, I do have a PayPal account. Yeah, I have a PayPal account, and you know, as I said, I get donations off people for doing various things, and I have a number of ebooks, and I have a buy me a coffee, which is all on the links below. The ebooks are quite good; they're quite informative, and I've just been asked to do another, like a step-by-step guide to retirement over here in Thailand. So I'll play about with that for the next week or so. Well, after I come back from my friend's house, helping him to decide about changes in electrics, which we'll be doing tomorrow. But I like doing it because it's you know, he's been in the building game for many years, so he knows all about buildings and construction and stuff like that. But electrics was never on his forte. So he's been to my house a few times, and he's pulled the trigger now, and he's living over here full time. So it's just nice to go up and see him, and we'll put his property to rights. Oh, good that the burn's okay. Good to hear. The local chicken seller told us daily profit is only a couple of hundred a day. They said better than zero. Yeah, exactly. Like Play, you know, 300 or 400 baht a day she makes, but she said it's better than not going out at all. But she's out at 9 o'clock on the morning, well, 9:30 in the morning, gets back about 6 o'clock on the evening. I mean, saying that, she has had some days where she's made 1,000 baht, which is like exceptional on bank. Like this weekend's a bank holiday weekend over here as well. So yesterday, I think she made about 400 or 500 baht, and today she might make another 400 or 500 baht today, because it's like a bank holiday weekend as well. Do I ever look at Cambodia to live? No, I've never really fancied Cambodia. No, I've never even been to Cambodia. I've been to Vietnam. I like Vietnam. I could live in Vietnam. That's lovely, that place. But Cambodia, it's not really on my list of places to go. Laos, I wouldn't mind going to Laos. There's some stunningly beautiful places there. But to live there, I mean, English is so widely spoken here, and the infrastructure, the internet, and you're driving on the same side as the UK. So there's a lot of good things, you know, going for Thailand, and it suits me. And I don't think I'd like to move to Cambodia. I thought I was banned. Yeah, when they were talking about putting the minimum wage at 400 baht a day, 400 baht a day, and that was actually with a proviso. It was just in the tourist areas and in the hotels and things like that. It wasn't 400 baht a day for anybody and everybody. It was selective in the tourist areas. But I mean, 400 baht a day. I mean, and the Cambodians work for even less than that. That's why they have a lot of Cambodians and Burmese here, because they actually work for cheaper than the Thais. Imagine working for 200 or 300 baht a day in this heat. It's crazy. Okay, Bill, thanks very much for calling. Highlights can't hang around, but just dropped in to say hi. Thanks very much for dropping in. Hi, Bill. Always nice to see you. Tony Montana, I've just bought you a coffee. I couldn't find your PayPal account in your... No, I don't have my PayPal in my description. I just have buy me a coffee, which is then linked to my PayPal account. So thanks very much for the coffee. Much appreciated. So thank you very much. Yeah, just watched some new CNA video about real estate scams in Cambodia. Les, do you know any way of opening a PayPal account here? Deleted my UK one and won't let me open. I think mine is just from my UK account. I don't know about opening a PayPal. I've had the PayPal account for years and years. No, I don't know. I don't know about opening a PayPal account here. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that one. The real estate scams in Cambodia. There's real estate scams over here as well. In a friend of mine lost 9.5 million baht in a property deal that went wrong. Trusted somebody, and they sort of swindled him out of 9.5 million baht, which is crazy, isn't it? I'm so, if a property deal sounds too good to be true, it is. Always use a lawyer. And the last person that I helped, they insisted in using a lawyer, which I'm happy about, because there are some building companies that you don't need a lawyer. No, we've been doing this for years. We're a big company. Why wasting money on a lawyer? Because the last person that I helped out to find a condo, he used a lawyer, and they advised him not to buy the condo because there was loads of problems with the condo, with no taxes being paid. There was a whole heap of problems. So the lawyer, although it cost 15,000 baht, it saved him a whole heap of trouble. So it's like everything else. Just add that to the cost of buying something. Get a lawyer to look at everything. It's better to know the situation than not, because if my friend had used a lawyer in the first place, he wouldn't have lost 9.5 million baht on a dodgy deal that was dodgy in the first place. So again, buyer beware for everything, whether you're buying a house, whether you're buying land, whether you're buying a property, whether you're buying a condo, buying a car, buying everything. Do your due diligence, because once that money's gone, the chances of you getting it back is very, very slim to zero. Been watching your vids and lives for a bit now. Did a pension forecast after watching one of your vids. Thanks for all your info. Good. I hope the pension was a good outcome. I rang up the pensions department, and they guaranteed that I'm, at the minute, as of this year, it's a minimum, because we contracted out a minimum of £175 a week. I can live on that. I'm happy at that. So I think by the time my pension comes, which is another 2.5 years, if it scratches the £200 a month, a week, I'll be happy at that. On top of my 5-year pension as well. But good, glad that the pension forecast was good for you. PayPal can't connect to a Thai bank. Oh, okay. Oh, well, if you've still got a UK bank account, then you'd be able to do that. Yeah, 9.5 million baht. Ouch. He's still trying to recover it now, and this is 5 or 6 years down the line, and a bucket load of cash for lawyers' fees, changing his lawyers. So add that on top of the 9.5 million. It's a lot of money. Coming soon to Thailand for my personal goals, building a sustainable farm in Lon Sak district. Like your videos, check out mine. We'll contact you for mindset. Yeah, okay, send me a link and I'll certainly subscribe and I'll check you. I like people who they self-sustaining and things like that for the farm and looking after themselves. It's just brilliant. And there are many people who can do it. But you sort of have to be practically minded. It's like somebody would struggle if they've lived in or worked in an office all of their lives and they're not good at practical stuff and things like that. Then I think you struggle to do that. So I take my hat off to you. You must be that sort of person to be able to handle all sorts of things. And if you can handle all sorts of things, sustainable farm, it's going to be hard work. That's for sure. Long hours and not much rewards for it. But if you like that type of thing, fantastic. Good for you. When told the wife how much my hourly rate was in the UK, over 1,000 baht, she was astounded. Can't get her head around how much more expensive it is in the UK. Yeah, again, before I retired from the fire brigade when I was 50 years old, and I was actually earning more on my 4 days off being an electrician than I was being a firefighter. So the electric side of it, I mean, it was just like money for, when I got all the qualification. I didn't train to be an electrician until I was 41. I went back to college to learn how to get the City and Guilds for electrics. I've always interested in the electrics, and my instructor said to me, he said, Les, he said, even though you get all these qualifications, you won't be able to work for a JIB registered company because you haven't gone through the apprenticeship route. And he said, you've just done it yourself. I said, I'm not interested in doing that. So I want to open my own business. And as soon as he found out I was going to open my own business, he went above and beyond and helped me and point me in the right direction, if you like. And when I got my City and Guilds, I got my NIC qualification. Never looked back, thinking I'll do every job that I can because you don't know when the phone's not going to ring. I tell you what, for 10 years, the phone never stopped ringing, and it still rings now for electrics. Once you're an electrician, you're always in demand everywhere. I've worked around the world, working in south of France, working in Italy, worked in Spain, doing voluntary work as far as an electrician. So you can pick and choose the jobs where you want to go around the world as an electrician, because electricians is everywhere. So for those people, learn a trade, be a plumber, a joiner, or an electrician. You'll never, ever, ever be out of work. I'm outside sitting by the koi pond. I dug by hand. Oh, wow! Digging out by hand. Yeah, I dug a few small holes for putting posts in when I made the gazebo around the back. Wow, digging the soil is such hard work. Yeah, expecting rain this week. I mean, to be fair, there's a few darker clouds around here now. Let's hope that the rain does come by the end of the week or so. Mine was £221 a week now, but I get 10 years to get the pension. All right. Well, mine would have been the 221, but we contracted out as a fire brigade. I was only young, wherever it was, and some union guy came out and said, "Oh, everybody needs to sign this form to contract out," and we just said, "Yeah, okay." So we just went along with the flow. But that ultimately gives me £40 a week or so less than what I would have done if we didn't contract out. But as far as I'm aware, everybody I still don't know why we contracted out, what the good things and bad things was about. I just accept it. £175 a week, I'm okay with that at the minute. I'm dreaming about some rain. Yeah, it's funny, when you live in the UK, it was rain, you were just dreaming for the sunshine. And now, because we haven't had any rain for such a long time, it's actually nice just to sit and watch. I love thunder and lightning as well. You get some cracking thunderstorms during the rainy season. Opening a PayPal account is banned here in Thailand. Oh, well, I don't know about that. But again, my PayPal account is still linked to my UK bank account, so we're okay. You can have your own PayPal from home, just VPN to the country you establish the account in. Again, I don't know that. But again, when people make contributions to buy me a coffee, that's registered in Thailand, but that's linked to my PayPal account. So if anybody gives me a donation for buying me a coffee, $3 and upwards or whatever, it goes straight to my PayPal account, and you don't lose any fees and nothing. So I'm okay with that. We got here in 2008, but fly back to the US every few years for banking and shopping. Yeah, I think sometimes it's just nice. I enjoy when I went back to the UK just to realise how fortunate, how lucky I am that I'm living here compared to the costs of everything back in the UK. And that's sort of a sobering effect, because then you realise how cheap it is to live over here. It's raining in sunny Bognor right now. Well, if you want, we'll send through the Wi-Fi. We'll send you some of this heat. You send us some of that cool weather. It'd be lovely. It'd be just nice to have the cool Bognor Regis weather around here, this table. Trouble is, I deleted my UK account and can't open another one here. Well, yeah. There's a guy that I know. Sometimes when you do it in haste and you think you're doing the right thing, but sometimes it's the wrong thing. Never cancel anything until you're 100% sure. A guy used to take statins for his heart. Once he got his retirement date, and he went to the doctor, and he said to the doctor, "Can you give me 6 months supply of statins?" He said, "I'm going to retire in Thailand." And then what happened is that the doctor gave him 3 months supply, and he said, now that you've told me you're leaving the UK, he says, I can't give you any prescription anymore for statins, but he said, I'll give you 3 months supply. Then after that, you've got to pay for them because you're leaving the country. And he thought, oh, okay. But had he not told the doctor, his daughter could have gone around and got this, week, monthly, 2 monthly, 3 monthly, whatever it was, statins, because it was on a prescription, and then send them over to Thailand. But he thought, I'll get them from Thailand. But apparently the medication he was on was quite strong, so it cost him £100 a month for the same statin tablets that he got from the UK. So sometimes be a little bit cautious of the people like you're telling that you're leaving the UK for. Doctors is one of them, because if you've got any expensive prescription, then they'll stop that. Mark, many thanks. Mark May, thank you. £10 donation for the super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. So, thank you. Yeah, Les, I heard the exact same story regarding prescriptions. Yeah, I didn't even know about credit ratings. 15. Yeah, credit ratings. Yeah. Well, I know a lot about that because I went through bankruptcy. I went through a very, very sad divorce, which ended up in bankruptcy. So then I had to start all over again. And I've done a couple of videos on the bankruptcy and, how I got through it and how we worked through it. And in reality, how you can turn something bad into something positive. Now, I was ashamed, because I went through bankruptcy, and that was only because through divorce, and my sister's advice and financial advisor advised me to go through bankruptcy, so that's what I did. And I was mortified. I cried. I was so upset about it, thinking, who goes through bankruptcy type of thing? And as one person said to me, I thought only rich people went bankrupt. And there's actually some moral in that story. I mean, Donald Trump has been bankrupt 3 times. Look like he might be going through bankruptcy a 4th time soon with what's going on. But anyway, I digress. So when I went and give all my details to the insolvency people, when I was actually declared bankrupt, the lady said to me, Les, she said, I can see you're a little bit upset about being bankrupt. But this was on July the 2nd of the year that I went bankrupt. And she said, let me tell you, she said, don't be shy or embarrassed about it. She said, you're one of over 27,000 people that have gone bankrupt this year. I mean, not that that made me feel any better, but, you know, at the time I was feeling at a low. But when she said one of 27,000 people had gone bankrupt that time. So what did I learn from bankruptcy? I learned, one, you can live without credit. Two, pay cash for everything. And three, because I was an officer in the fire brigade, and so therefore I went to different fire stations. And when it came out at the fire station, somebody said to me at the changeover of shift, which I felt so embarrassed about, this lad said it in front of 25 other guys, is that right, Les? You've gone bankrupt. And it was just like, oh, and my heart sank. And I said, yeah. I said, anybody that's suffering financial pressures, come and see me. I said, and I'll tell you exactly why I went bankrupt and how you can get out of it and how you can resolve it and how you can move forward from it. And word spread around the fire brigade, you know, that, oh, Les Pearson's bankrupt, he's gone bankrupt, blah, 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 blah. And then when I used to go to other fire stations acting as the officer in charge, he used to knock on the door. Oh, Les, he says, I've heard that you've gone through bankruptcy. He said, well, I'm in some financial problems. I said, come in, take a seat. So my bad experience helped literally hundreds of people out because I've experienced it and I've gone through it. And that's why I say to other people, you know, the majority of guys that come over here have gone through various faults or problems in their lives. Divorce has been the number one of it, losing their jobs, retirement, and talking to somebody who's actually lived through that is a fabulous way of getting over things. And I've done many of them things, and I speak as a voice of experience. I'm not confident, and you know, I can't tell you how I have a best relationship. I've been married for 4 times. You know, this is my 4th marriage, but I can tell you about how not to get scammed from lawyers and how lawyers treat you with contempt, and you are the cash cow. So I've got some answers for things, but I don't know everything. But I can certainly give you me penny's worth. It's unfortunate a firefighter needs some moonlight to make ends meet. System is no. Well, actually, the firefighter's salary was a good salary. I've got no complaints about that. But the opportunity that comes along, basically with the fire service, it's throughout the whole country. The amount of time we do. I used to work 2 days, 2 nights, and 4 days off every week. 2 lots of 20 days holidays and 2 lots of so we had a lot of time off. So for those people that wanted to work extra, you know, the facility was there. I mean, our night shifts were 16 hours long, but you're allowed to go to bed until at midnight until 7, as it was. The majority of fire stations that we went to were busy during the night, so you never got a full night's sleep. But the facility was there that you're allowed to do as secondary employment as well. And more often than not, firefighters did have a secondary employment, which obviously helped their improvements as well with you know, financial needs. As it was, because I did the 2 jobs, my wife didn't have to work. Although at one stage I had 4 jobs. But the 2 jobs, the firefighter and the electrician, my wife didn't have to work, so she could stay at home looking after the kids. Now, at the time, before bankruptcy, she loved that because then she didn't have to work. But it was only when I got told how much money I'd have to pay my wife when I got divorced, that's why I stopped being an electrician. That's why I went through bankruptcy. Anyway, that's another long story. Did I know Peter Stratton by any chance? Peter Stratton? I can't say I did, no. The chat's going crazy, right? Never have a station. Peter Stratton. No, I don't know Peter Stratton. Oh, yeah, colleague who mentioned you in front of other people. Yeah, it was sort of a bit insensitive, but he was a bit of a loudmouth person anyway, and he had a lot to say to everybody, and he got his kudos, and all the 25 people that were in the changing rooms at the time, you could have cut the air with a knife. When, is that right, Les? You've gone bankrupt, and everybody just went. And then like the little whispers and that. And I was totally and utterly embarrassed. But at the time, I've learned from it. And it was what it was. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people do the secondary jobs because it's the shift system. Now, there's a couple of London firefighters I knew. One of them, I drive a cab, but also work as a paramedic in London. Although I am retiring from both jobs now, I work 3 days off. Yeah, again, there's a couple of London firefighters because I went down to a couple of London fire stations, and they had a black cab. And basically, the black cab was working 24 hours a day, because if he was on night shift, the day shift driver would drive it when he had his days off. And then after night shift, he would take over the cab and drive it during the day. So they were on a bucket load of money being a black cab driver. And because there were fire engine drivers as well, they knew the patch very well. So they had the knowledge, which was great for being a driver in London as well, fire brigade. It has it. I mean, the pay wasn't brilliant for a firefighter, but it was, for me, it was okay for what it was. I love the job. I'd go and do it again tomorrow. No problem. People are drinking a lot less, too expensive to go out. Yeah, I mean, some pubs that we went, it was £5 for a pint of beer. Brash, hi Les, great to catch you live. Thanks very much. Oz, Australia, I'll be very dark there now. Oh, 3 hours, 21 minutes at the minute now. Wow, that's, I think 3 hours, 30 minutes was the last long record that I had. 6:14. So another 15, 20 minutes, it'll be dark here. But yeah, we've still got 81 people in the house. Oh, well done. As long as the chat keeps coming up here, I'll keep on talking. Yeah, I mean, expensive for drinks and things like that. People used to go on to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and now they might just go out for one night a week. Imported liquor is priced in Thailand. The local options are great. I love rice whiskey. Is that the little bottles of stuff that like just blows your head off? I've never had one, but I know a few people that have them. Do London cabbies still do the knowledge? I would imagine that they would do, yes, because it's, they need to know where they're going. Running a business in the UK is incredibly tough, and most will go bust eventually. Great how you made bankruptcy into an opportunity to help others. Yeah, well, I did, I mean, I was ashamed and embarrassed for a long time over that. And because for me, before I went through bankruptcy, I thought we were doing okay. We had 3 houses, just about to buy our 4th. We had a lot of debt as well, but I had jobs, an electrician, I had my own children's entertainment business, property developer. So I worked a lot with a plan in 10 years when I retired that we would have had 10 houses, £1 million in the bank, and no debt. And I had a plan, and the money that was coming in would have paid for everything, because we had a lot of money coming in, but we had a lot of money coming out. And the eventuality was I was going to work and be able to recoup that in my later years of retirement at 50. But divorce scuppered all of that lot. And when the lawyers says, oh, well, because you've got all of these jobs, you're earning this amount of money, you're going to pay this to your ex-wife who wanted the divorce. And I said, I'm not going to work four jobs, 7 days a week, so I can give my ex-wife this amount of money. So I stopped everything that I was earning. So I was just back to a firefighter. So no other jobs whatsoever. So my income, drastically reduced. So I couldn't afford to pay the mortgages for the houses and the loans that we had and the lifestyle that we had, and I couldn't give her the money that she wanted. So everything sort of got took away, which I had a lot of fun with the solicitors and things like that, because I didn't have a solicitor at first, and I used to bite back at the solicitors, and but ultimately, when I went through bankruptcy, it was the worst time of my life because of it's a horrible time. But it also taught me a lesson that you live without credit cards. I used to live in the Joneses family, and everybody that's watching, if they know that, keeping up with the Joneses, the best cars, best caravans, best holidays, best furniture, best everything. I used to be one of the Mr. Joneses. And then I found out after bankruptcy and divorce that you didn't need all of them things. This is when I discovered Thailand, and I discovered people living here with nothing more happy than me with all the jobs that I had. And that was perspective and changed my life, and it changed my view and everything. No longer was I the man who wanted the top iPhone, the top this, the top that, the top the other. It was, I just need a phone that makes phone calls. I don't need to show that I've got an iPhone thing, £1,000 phone as it is. So it changed my life for the better, if you like. And that's what I used to tell people: don't be afraid of debt. In debt in the UK, you can't go to jail for, and all the intimidation methods that the people used to send to you to intimidate you to pay money. It was a good learning curve, and I spent many hours telling other people who were desperate for advice, and people who were ripping them off for trying to get money off them. It was just it was a sad time in life, but it was a happy time in life because I helped many other people get out of the situation that they were in because of the situation that I was in. London Cabby, do they complete the GPS services like Uber? My favourite fire station in London is Euston. Beautiful 5-story building, always cabs parked outside. I think the most fun was Soho. Years ago, girls used to go in at night for Finchley Fire Station. We used to park our car at Finchley Fire Station and go into London. So we could park our car for free in Finchley, then catch the tube into London. That was always good. And I had a friend who was a policeman in the Canary Wharf area. So we used to stay for free in the police section houses in Canary Wharf because he used to get us down there, and he used to say that we were police officers from Cleveland. So we parked the car at Finchley Fire Station, used my friend who was a sergeant in Canary Wharf. Not that would happen now. I would imagine the security details and stuff like that, you would never get through the door. But we stopped in free accommodation in Canary Wharf. So we used to go for a few beers around at the weekend and stay for free in the police section houses at Canary Wharf, and then come back to Finchley, get the car and come home. Great days. Being a firefighter, you could, any station. A couple of times we've been to York for a night out, and like 2 or 3 of us, and we used to stay at the fire station at York for free. Same with the police, they can sort of go to any police force around the country and have free accommodation. We're in England. I'm originally from the northeast, Redcar near Middlesbrough, about 60 miles south of Newcastle, to give you some location. I lived in London for a few years and Surrey for many years. I was going to transfer to the London Fire Brigade because I loved at the time the big city. When I got divorced, I was just looking for change. Everything was against me, and I was just thinking life is crap and one thing and another. And I went down to a couple of London fire stations and thought, could I live here? Could I do this? And when I found out the cost of living down in London, it was just prohibitively expensive. So I never continued with it. because of just the housing costs. It would have taken up any extra money that I earned through being a firefighter down there. But then looking upon it afterwards, if I would have carried on being an electrician, I would have earned a load of money being an electrician down in London, that's for sure. But anyway, that's history. Time's gone by now, and here I am sat talking to you in a beautiful country, living a wonderful lifestyle, retired and living the dream with my Australian retired and living the dream mug. Life is what you make it. You know, if somebody says to me, when you retire, Les, you'll be living in Thailand, halfway around the world. And as a young boy, I grew up in a poor family. My dad worked in the steelworks. My mother worked at the bakeries, Welfords. And we only ever had one holiday in our life. And to think that I'd be living at the other side of the world, you know, grasp every opportunity that you can, you know, take life as it comes, and you can make your own luck. And that's what happens. Nobody's going to make it for you. Nobody's going to grab you by the arm and say, come and do this. I'll show you how to do that. Show you how to do that. You can ask people how it's done. And if you talk to the right people, they'll tell you how it's done. But there's nobody going to lead you by the hand and will say, here's your way to your fame and fortune. You've got to find that out yourself. Les, you have now turned your life around for the best. Yeah, I have. Thank you very much for that. And I do. I've got to say, I've had some bad times in my life, but I don't think, you know, I think life is an obstacle course. You know, good things and bad things come along. And if it wasn't for the bad things, the good things wouldn't be as good, would they? So, yeah, I'm a strong believer in fate, and what will be will be. Never look at a glass half empty. Always look at it on as half full. Look at opportunities that come your way. Look for opportunities that you can go and find out. Information is power, and power is by knowledge. And once you've got all them things together, you can do anything and everything. I think when you get knocked down, it teaches us a lesson. We can come back stronger. And now everything is paid for. I can't. Now that everything is paid for, you don't have it. Yeah, exactly. It does teach you a lot of lessons. Have you noticed how many single women over? I don't think there's any. Oh, at least 15 single teachers. Oh, wow. I don't know any single ladies at that type of age. I know a few that are over 50, and they're finding it very difficult here because of loneliness and things like that. Earning all the money doesn't make you happy. A nice lifestyle is much better than £1 million in the bank. I'd agree. If somebody offered me £1 million to move back to England, I'd say, no, thank you. I'll stay as I am. I'm happy. And if you learn to be happy and content with what you've got, that's brilliant, because then, you know, the only other way is up. We have enough money to live a happy life and a content life, and I'm happy at that. I wanted the £1 million in the bank, and I wanted the 10 houses. I wanted the best of everything. And have I got everything? I probably got more than what I could wish for, you know, when I wanted the £1 million. I live a beautiful lifestyle here, happy, contented. And when you find that's the sweet spot. That's the luxury part of it. Yeah, a person's character isn't from what's that now? It's jumped up. I love Les' teaching moments. Always a good one. Oh, I could do another 3 hours just on that. So, you know, I used to work for King Charles, as it is now. There was a program with him, the Prince's Trust, and I worked for them for a year. And my bosses liked me because I think outside of the box, and I always came up with innovative. I can't say that word, but very clever things. I'm not a clever person at all. I am not. I'm sort of, my spelling's bad, my writing's like, a spider crawling over everything. So during my life, I've always had little things against me. But when you can use them things against you for your own benefits and needs, and show others that you've gone past what people don't see, if you like. For the writing, my writing was never very good. Spelling mistakes, terrible. People said I write like a doctor. Well, if a doctor's a doctor with bad spelling and bad writing, he's still a doctor. He's got to be a clever person. So I always used to teach people, with people with no skills, qualifications, or education, how they can move on in life. I could show them how to get a job that they didn't need any qualifications for. I could tell them how they could earn £35,000-40,000 a year without qualifications, and they can set it up in the business, and we would provide them the £200 to set up the business. And it was like, wow. And anyway, that's a whole new story. Then I told them other things about being positive, and we showed them different variations of life and how you can move forward. It was a very, very intense 12 weeks, but I enjoyed it because I was thinking outside of the box. And you always had to be positive, because on a Monday morning, they would come in from a weekend of drugs and alcohol and not feeling very well, to like, don't want to come to school, or they don't want to come to our program. And then on a Friday, they had gate fever. They wanted to get away. They didn't want to stay and listen to what you have to say. But we moved them on to further education, jobs and qualifications and things like that. And that was a humbling experience. Did I win them all? No. Out of 10 or 12 students, you might get one or two. You might get one or two students that actually listened and moved on to a better lifestyle. The others would just go back to how they were. But they were never, ever going to move on anyway, not at this particular time. But they may move on in another, few years' time. But I enjoyed doing that. That was a fantastic learning experience. So I love that type of thing. I love antique markets. Yeah, there's some good antique markets in Bangkok. Chatuchak Market, you can get anything and everything there. And there's some good antique shops around Chatuchak Market as well. Less the dad you never had. I got I got told that on more than one occasion, when I used to do a couple of people who were a little bit shy going around patio, on single guys, like in the late 50s, early 60s. And it is very daunting for a newbie to go around patio. And I used to sort of lead them by the hand and take them into various places that they would never, ever go into on their own because of shyness and fearfulness and stuff like that. And one guy said that to me. He said, "It's just like talking to me dad." Listen, son, don't be doing this. You need to do that. You need to do this. And if you do that, treat the girl with respect. Do blah, 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 blah. He said, just like talking to me dad. No, again, we've been to patio with again, some examples with some guys. It's very daunting getting back into the dating game when single guys come over to Thailand. When I first came here, I felt very, very, very uncomfortable with it because I was never a great guy with girls anyway. So I was always a little bit shy and naive and things like that. And but coming over to Thailand, it's like finding a girlfriend with steroids, and it's just like, wow. And they're so upcoming to you and forceful and, seductive to you type of thing. And I just like felt intimidated and stuff like that. Because I've been here for years now. That's just normal to me. But I still remember that feeling. So I know some of the guys that come here. And again, we've took some guys to Pattaya and we've stayed there for a couple of nights and showed them the ropes, and they paid for our hotel accommodation and bought us a couple of meals just to show them the ropes, that they're not going to get ripped off and they're not going to get scammed, and we'll go through it. we've been into a soapy with them. We've been into go-go bars. We've been into various other bars just to show them how it works and how they're not going to get ripped off. And that alone saved thousands and thousands of baht, because if you're a newbie and you come to Thailand and you don't know the ropes, boy, can it be very expensive for you in the early stages. But yeah, I mean, I go at the patio with the wife, and the wife comes on with us, and the wife's been into the seating area for the soapies, if you like, and she's been into the go-go bars with us. We've been into the bars, and Ploy asks the ladies negotiate for how much is. So we find out all the prices for the guys, and once you see how easy it is, then the intimidation isn't there, because somebody sort of held you by the hand and think, I'm not going to get ripped off here, you know. And it's nice to have that type of thing, and it's, you know, it's the way it works. And once you leave patio and you got your girlfriend, or you come and live here out in the sticks, it's nice. We have a weekly brunch club that we go and put the world to rights between 8 and 12 of us, and Americans, Germans, Irish, English, Finnish. We have also a big mixture, and we'll, you know, once a week. But it's introducing people into that sort of lifestyle, looking at houses and, you know, where to look and how to negotiate, and ways and means of getting the good deal. And this is sort of what we offer. This is what we do. So I'm full of information. So anyway, we're getting a bit dark now. It's all gone a bit grainy. I'm surprised my lights haven't come on yet. So anyway, 3 hours 40. Oh, we've got, the light's coming on now. That one's just come on. So this one will come on in a minute. It'll be a bit more later. But yeah, and again, information. Anybody wants absolutely anything asking, don't be afraid to ask. I'm up for any questions, no matter how silly. Ask me the question, I can give you an answer if I can. And if I can't give you the answer, I'll point into the direction that people can. Oh, let's have a look. Right, I missed a couple of these. Blah, blah, blah. Saying lots of antique farm equipment. You can get everything here. You can get absolutely everything here. Yeah, patio tours by Les. Yeah, again, I used to do it, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks or so ago. We took another guy around patio and showed him the ropes, and it's like rabbit with a headlight, you know, with the eyes open, the headlights, like, woo, what's going on here? But it's good fun. Anyway, we're on 3 hours and 42 minutes. It's gone dark now, and the picture quality isn't very good. So at that, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you very much for the super chats, for those people who give us super chats. Thanks very much for the conversation, everybody. 3 hours 42 minutes has gone like that, and I've never stopped talking. And I hope the people that have been on this has got some valuable information. I'm always here. Send me an email if you want to know anything. I'm as honest as the day is long. I don't give any BS information. And as I say, any advice that you get from me is 100% honest, truthful, and it will certainly help you on your way. So thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to call it quits at that. And take care, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Thanks very much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. Bye for now.